Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome. Let's get rid of that. Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And I am here. I'm here to not be your lawyer or whatever, because I am not currently licensed. And the state of Minnesota seems to have an issue thinking that I am advertising myself as a lawyer who can represent you, which I am not. And if you're getting that from YouTube, let me just let you know that that is not a good choice. That is not a good choice at all. You should find a lawyer who is not focused on creating video content to represent you. That's my personal opinion, of course, only because every lawyer I've seen who is representing someone while making video content has done a poor job of it. But hey, how's it going? What's up, Vice baby? How you doing, brother? Nice to see you as well. Even though my appearance was much more disruptive than I planned, I didn't have any plans on any disruptions. And we're gonna get started on this trial in just a minute, because I'm kind of crunched on time now. I wasn't supposed to. I wasn't supposed to be crunched on time, but you know how my days sometimes go like that. That's fine. I want to formally, publicly apologize to Ian Runkle, who has been a very good friend through all of this mess to me. I did not in any way intend to disrupt his stream or to cause any grief or whatever. There was a message sent in the backstage when I was about to join, asking if Kurt and I would be able to be on the stream together. I responded that I'm only going to be on for about 10 minutes, and I would absolutely behave. This is about the charity and the children, not about any, personal stuff. Like that's just silly. And that's it. And then I was brought on stream, and I just said, "Hey guys," and that was apparently enough for Kurt to leave, which is fine. I don't blame him, even though like I wouldn't do that on someone else's stream like that. That would be really rude. But anyway, I had no intention of that happening, and I think some people were upset that I laughed about it, because I thought it was funny. Like, I don't know, I thought it was hilarious. But apparently that made some people upset, and that was not my intention either. I was just like, it just was like, really? Like, that's okay. Like, I get it. I just thought it was funny and comical, and the timing of it was very, very perfect. So, I didn't want that to in any way cloud what was going on with what Runkle was doing, because what he's doing is amazing. He raised almost $100,000 yesterday for a children's hospital, and that's the really important part. So I don't want to take away from what he did, because what he did is phenomenal, and 24-hour streams are so difficult, which is another reason I wouldn't want to disrupt it in any way. They're so freaking hard to do, and he did it, man. So big hats off to him. My apology. I meant it when I said it on Twitter too. Like, I didn't mean for any of that to happen, but unfortunately, sometimes I'm not in control of other people's actions, right? The sometimes is for the unfortunately. I'm never in control of other people's actions. So like, I can only behave, for myself. And for me, I just said, "Hey guys," Kurt decided to exit the stream, which I thought brought more attention to the drama than was necessary. But hey, doesn't matter. It's in the past, but it didn't go down the way I wanted it to. So I'm here apologizing like a bitch. God damn it. How dumb. But Runkle is my friend, and I didn't want that for him. So, but the apologies to him. Nobody else gets an apology, just Runkle. All right. Now that said, get that shit out of the way. That's done. That's not what this stream is about. This stream is about a trial that, guys, it looks fucking wild. This is New York versus Devyn Michaels. Devyn Michaels is a former porn star, porn actress. She can't be a porn star. I've never heard of her. But maybe a porn actress is a more accurate representation. But I think the porn star has just become a word for anyone who has ever done pornography at any point. That said, Devyn Michaels is accused by the state of New York of beheading her husband. And the details of how we get from married porn star to beheaded and with your head thrown in the trash are kind of that's the juice of this trial. That's what is interesting to me. This should be fun to go through. I think it does involve a tragic murder. We're opposed to murder. But when murder happens and there's a trial, we can analyze what led to it. We can talk about the trial strategies. What is your strategy? What the fuck are you going to say? What is it? So allegedly, she takes this guy. She's giving him a massage. She clocks him with a candlestick, chops his head off, brings it with her home in a laundry basket. Hello, business. Everybody's got body parts in laundry baskets. She brings the head home with her in a laundry basket and throws it away in a garbage can in her neighborhood. That's according to the evil, wicked, and obviously biased district attorney in the state of New York. And I don't believe it for a second. I don't know what the defense's argument is. I don't know. I really don't know what the hell you could possibly argue to get around this, but I want to know what it is. We got to see. And I think it's going to be good fun. People have been asking me when I would do another trial. Now, the only caveat to this is that this trial is complete. Don't go Googling spoilers. That's boring. This trial is complete. And so, that's a little different than other trials that I've done because I try to do them live. The goal is we're going to see how this first day of trial goes. And, if it's good and sufficiently entertaining, we'll keep going. But it was, I believe it was only a 7 or 8 day trial. So this is kind of what I want to do, although I would like to do it with live trials. But this is kind of one thing I want to add into the rotation of shows. I want to cover these shorter trials. I want them to be more to do more frequent trials that are not 6 and 7 weeks long and that other people aren't covering. I'm not aware of anybody like fully going into this. And this seems like the perfect type of trial for us to cover here. We can laugh. It involves sex and beheading and massage, which may be pegging, like that may be code word. I don't know. I have no idea. Why are you wearing sunglasses inside? Several reasons. One is I like them. That's the most important one. So we're gonna do that. And I thank you guys for joining me on this. I am definitely delaying a little bit so people have time to get in. Day one is a shorter day. Day one is a shorter day because it's opening arguments. It's I think 3 hours. I'm going to try not to, I don't like speeding up what happens in the trial. And I don't like, I don't like that. I don't like pausing. I don't like speeding up, but we'll be able to skip any breaks or whatever. But we're going to try and let it run normal. We're like at normal speed. And there's a very specific reason, because people are like, why don't you watch these on 2x or whatever? And the very specific reason is this. The jury doesn't see it on 2x. The judge doesn't see it on 2x. The other attorneys don't see it on 2x. My theory on trial watches, and people are free to disagree with this, is that if we're trying to analyze what's going on, then the best way to do it is to watch it at normal speed, because people's inflections, their tone, their body language, that all matters. And it all looks distorted if you change the speed of the trial. So that's how I do it. I know other people do it differently, and that's fine. That's fine. They didn't invent the genre. I did. So they can certainly riff on it all they want in their own way and make it their own. This is how I've done it. This is how I'll continue to do it. As far as introductions go, that's about it. Real quick, what's up? Yeah, they're just leaving the stuff outside. So you just go, like, once they leave, just open the door and grab it. Yeah, how dare you? Yeah. Later, girl. So that's that for the introduction to the trial. Let me very briefly talk about tonight, because this is the first stream of the night. There's another stream later. Okay. Hold on. This is amazing. John Drennan says, if you want to dress fashionably on a thrift store budget, it's also best to manage your weight. Men donate a lot of valuable fashion items because they've grown out of them. No joke. Several of the suit coats and even this gray leather jacket that I got recently have come from thrift stores. $8 a piece, $7-8 per jacket. A lot of the shirts that I have been buying do as well. And some of them are like junk, and some of them are really nice quality. So that's phenomenal advice. If you fit into off the rack stuff, people donate that stuff all the time. Completely off topic. The second stream tonight is with special guest Mersh from Revenge of the Sis. I was informed that Mersh would like to join for a Cooking with Kurt segment. So we're going to do Cooking with Kurt with Mersh. So I hope you guys are interested in that. That will be a members only show. It will not start off members only. We'll do 30 minutes to 45 minutes, letting people watch and decide if they want to join in. But if you want to participate in that, if you want to watch it, all the way through and comment all the way through, you'll need to be a member. You can get your memberships during this stream or that stream. If that's something you're interested in. That content is not for everyone. Not everybody wants to watch it, and that's okay. That's okay. But if you like it as much as I do, it's also has the potential to be the most fun content that's there. But we'll be doing that. That will start. It's currently scheduled for 9 p.m. It may be 9:30 or whatever. I just like to have a little break between streams to hang out with Lady Raggets before she goes to bed and before I do the second show. So that'll be the only thing that kind of changes that at all. Vice Baby sent 5 gifted memberships. This man is bringing people to entertainment. A big hand to Vice Baby. And if you guys don't know who that is, this is why I wear sunglasses. My friend Jeff, Legal Vices, passed away. And that's his son. So tell him hi, because his dad was fucking lit, so you know he is too. Anyway, Pyramid 7, welcome to Paralegal. I really appreciate everybody who joins up. Final announcement. If you want to participate in the show, you can do so either on Super Chats on YouTube, Rumble Rants on Rumble. But I would encourage you to check out Super Tips, which is pinned at the top of the YouTube chat right now. It's about to be pinned at the top of the Rumble chat in just a second. It's supertip.gg/RL. And that allows you can send a regular super chat that I will pull up on screen and read. Or if you want, you can use the voice tip option, and that will allow you to choose from a selection of many, many different AI generated voices that we have, except for Kurt's voice, which is 100% him and not generated by AI at all. That's the crying incel lawyer or whatever. All of those voices except for Kurt's are AI. Actually, every super tip that comes in, Kurt calls in and reads it personally. That's his real voice. But I encourage you to check out Super Tips. Try it out. They're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun, and I'm always looking for more voices to add to it. Scott Jonesy says, who'd win in this fight, Badger versus Baboon? I have the most offensive joke to that ever, and I'm not going to say it. Baboons. If you don't know why, well, go to jail and find out. Okay, we have a couple of these super tips to check out. Nelson 940, welcome to Paralegal Status. Right after the super tips, we're jumping into day one of the Devyn Michaels trial and opening arguments.
What's up, my nigga? You doing a show tonight? Micro pain.
That was received yesterday. The answer is no. I did not end up doing a show.
We mentioned Coke to keep Rupkel awake yesterday in like hour 2 of the live stream, and I told him we were going to summon the nose Pope. Sure enough, it just took like 16 hours. I had to fight myself when Kurt said he was grossed out by clams being in Clamato, and it not being just a clever name. We've seen your enchilada soup. You don't get to talk about being grossed out.
Exactly, 100%. Look. I asked Runkle for the link much earlier in the day. He didn't see it till about 8:30 and sent me the link. I saw it then around 8:45, and at that point I'd already agreed to go on with Camelot, starting at 9, which we didn't start quite at 9, but that was that. It was I would have loved to be on for more time. It was kind of an unfortunate timing on that. And then I did not rejoin after the Camelot show because someone who is, a personal friend needed some support last night after they had a really rough time. Their first birthday after being detached from their spouse, and so like they needed some company and some people. So Lady R and I went to go support them and stuff like that. And as much as I would like to have been on the stream for a little bit longer, sometimes personal stuff has to take over. So that's where that was. That's what happened last night, with last night. But I would have loved to be on the stream more. I love charity, like legitimately love philanthropy and charity. I love to participate. I love to encourage others to participate. And I wish I could have been on there more, maybe next year. Or, anybody else. You ever want me for a charity stream? Just hit me up. Like, I'm a good hype man for it.
I just had to interrupt a moment to Nate the lawyer just to cause problems. I'll apologize a day later when the heat is too high. No apologies to Nate, and I'll just retweet other people's well wishes.
I texted Nate personally and prayed for him personally before I went on that show at all. And if you know anything about how this works, I'm not in control of when I show up. I'm not in control of when I get brought onto the stream. So if you have a problem with the timing of me getting brought onto the stream because it interrupted Nate's thing, I'm sorry, man. I didn't have anything to do with it. If for those of you who don't know, Nate the lawyer, another longtime friend of mine, who I did have a little bit of beef with when he said some things and I was still very, very angry about how things went down. And I was a little bit hurt and I lashed out at Nate. He and I have squashed that. I went to squash that right away when I was on Eric Hunley's stream from one of my first times coming back. Nate was diagnosed with a brain tumor and needed emergency surgery. He should be having that surgery sometime today. Hopefully it's already done. But it's a serious brain tumor, potentially a fatal brain tumor but prospects are high that the surgery would be successful and be able to, conquer that. So, if you're a praying person or just someone who wishes people well, like Nate is, Nate's got a lot of years left in him, we hope. And let's hope that this thing isn't standing in the way. But yeah, anybody, if you think that I don't know. I don't know what to say to that because, like I said, the moment I found out about it, I texted Nate personally. I didn't go blasting it on social media or anything like that. Other people were doing that, and that's fine. But I texted the man I know personally to pray with him. So.
I stayed up the entire 24 hours. Kurt's auctioning skills were rough at times. There was a whole 16 versus 18 between him and Joe on one item they were calling balls. Like, sir, this is a Wendy's, and by that I mean a children's charity stream. Why are we sexualizing an auction item and arguing over the appropriate age for someone who could make use of it?
That's fucking weird, bro. See, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. This is the other thing. I saw this. People wonder about the Kurt stuff, and it's like, go watch the pizza casserole video. Go watch it and determine for yourself if his words are appropriate. Someone tried to claim that he was joking in that he was making a legal joke. Let me just reassure you that it wasn't a joke, and that's evidenced by his defense of his position that going down to the age of consent is perfectly okay for a 44-year-old man. Because like in his, that's in his dating standards video, I believe, that we reviewed, that he put out recently. He defended that statement, not as a joke, but as why shouldn't he consider girls down to the age of consent? And the answer is very simple, because you're fucking 44, bro. You're 44. That's the reason you shouldn't consider down to a 16 or 17-year-old. I would argue not down to an 18-year-old either. Like that, to me, that's a personal opinion. I'm not saying it's illegal or anything like that. And I know I know it happens all the time. I'm just saying, like, that's, and when people bring this up, that's just not someone I don't want to associate with someone like that. I wouldn't hang out with him at a club if he was going to go talk to 18-year-old girls. I wouldn't do that. Sorry. I don't hang out with those dudes at clubs. Heather Whitaker says, new trial starts tomorrow. MA versus Brian Walsh, pre-trial conference tomorrow, jury selection this week. Same troopers as Karen Reed, should be good and messy. Maybe we'll cover that as well. If we can do it live, it'll depend on how the coverage of this goes. So we'll see. All right, a couple more.
Joe tried to save it, but Jesus, it was rough. Only worst WTF moment was when Danny joined and one of the dudes I'm unfamiliar with randomly said, "Now show nipple." Apparently, it was to another dude I didn't know on the stream, but man, did that make shit awkward. Then Danny's feminist tangent and Runkle trying to rein Kurt in on his views of trannies.
What is he doing on this stream, doing all this stuff? Insane. I saw someone in the chat say, hey, this seems like posturing. 18 is legal, period. I didn't say it was illegal. I said I wouldn't hang out with, and this is just a personal thing. I wouldn't hang out with the guy hitting on 18-year-olds at the club. Like I wouldn't do it. That's that. I certainly wouldn't be inviting 16, 17, and 18-year-olds to my house for liquor and sex. That's insane to me. A couple years ago, like, holy shit, people would be calling for blood over those comments. But you're welcome, Kurt. I became more hated. And so people, they're like, no, you're just mad at Kurt. It's like, all right. Kurt did that? Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's on the pizza casserole video. You got to watch it. You got to watch Cooking with Kurt. If you don't watch Cooking with Kurt, you can't know how insanely interesting this is.
Micropin si è spaventato quando è arrivato Macropin.
I'm not doing a micropeen counter. This is a trial stream, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it depends on how the trial goes. We might add a micropeen counter later. This is a former porn star, and you never know what details are coming.
Oh, Pope, can you get an AI voice of Eeyore that is definitely not Curticus Micropeenicus?
We tried to put together an Eeyore voice, and it just didn't come out well at all. It's also surprisingly hard to get 10 minutes of Eeyore because you need 10 minutes of Eeyore audio. It just did not work out very well. Okay, there we go, guys. Let's pull this up. I've got the Got the video right here. Click on it. Okay, hold on. Just gonna get this. Here we go. No, don't do that. I'm dumb. Sorry. This is my fault. I blame all of you, but it is my fault at the end of the day. I'm trying to frame out the window so it looks good. It's not going to look good. It's going to look okay. Let's see. What do we got? Here we go. I wonder if, let's see, does this still work? Oh no. Ah, damn it. They moved their logo around. That's actually, to me, still one of the funniest things that's ever happened is Law and Crime moved their logo around in response to being called copyright cucks. Oh, wait, what's this?
How dare that sweet, gentle elf allow you on his show? Doesn't he know that you are a bad, bad man?
Very bad.
Obviously, the 18-year-olds are fighting over my greasy, sweaty micro penis.
That was
You,
disgusting.
gross, straight to jail. Good to see you, Rackets. I hope your degenerate self enjoys this degenerate trial.
You know I'm gonna.
Man, I'm 28 and want date below 21. If I have to worry about where we can go for dinner drinks, that's a nope for me. The rule for dating age is your age cut in half plus 7 rounded up P.
Anything younger is a little too DiCaprio. So for my fat ass, it would be 44, 2 plus 7, 29. Let's see if Super Tips can comprehend math.
It couldn't do it didn't get the divide sign. But okay, here we go. Back to this. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We are going to fast forward to when this thing actually starts up. Where are you? Oh, we're going to cut off a whole lot of this. Judge is rocking a pixie cut. For now, I will pause the video if I'm going to offer significant commentary, just because the the audio issues. I will be fixing those audio issues as soon as possible. Here's your defendant, Devyn Michaels. Most of her face will be covered by hair for most of the day. We've got two lawyers with identical phenotypes, but separated by age. I wonder if they're father and son. I have no idea. Hold on. From the side, though, don't they look the same? Holy shit.
We are on the record in C-377239, State of Nevada versus Devyn Michaels. May the record reflect that Ms. Michaels is...
Holy shit. Nevada. I keep saying New York. This is Nevada versus Devyn Michaels. I need to edit the titles real quick. Wow. Terrible. Just unprofessional and supremely homosexual. Why would you do this? Like, I don't know. Sorry. We're going to change that. Nevada. Okay. Here we go. All right. Those are fixed now.
Present with our attorneys, deputy district attorneys, on behalf of the state. Do both parties stipulate to the presence of our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And are you guys ready to begin?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin this trial, for those of you who are going to be our jurors, I want to let you know what to expect. So we're going to go through some preliminary instructions before we get started. First of all, we'd like you to be as comfortable as possible while you're here. So if you have any trouble hearing or seeing at any time during this trial, please raise your hand as an indication. Also, if you need to use the restroom, if you feel ill, or if you have any other problem, please also raise your hand and let us know. I also encourage you to stay.
Brent Laramont says, bet the husband wasn't expecting that when he asked for a little head. Look, she threw the head in the garbage can. I said, this has got to be the only porn chick in history with a trash head game. Like, so yes, dick sucking jokes are, damn it, are more than welcome on this stream. We'll see. If I have to, I'll be working on a custom layout in just a second here to make this a little bit larger, and hopefully we can enjoy it together. Give me a minute, well, and I'll make that happen.
Stand up and stretch between witnesses, or when the attorneys are discussing something at the bench with me. You can also feel free to bring in water or anything or a drink, as long as it doesn't cause any disruption in the proceedings. During this trial, we will generally meet between 9 o'clock and end around 5. Occasionally, we may break shortly after 5 if there's a witness testifying at that time or a witness who needs to be called out of order, but we will not stay past 6. Also, during the day, we will generally break for lunch between 11:45 and 1 o'clock, depending on what time we started. And we will break for about an hour and 15 minutes, and then we'll have a break in the afternoon for about 15 minutes. This is a criminal case commenced by the state of Nevada, which I may sometimes refer to as the state, against Devyn Michaels. This case is based on the second amended indictment. The clerk will now read the second amended indictment to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury and state the plea of the defendant to that second amended indictment.
District Court, Clark County, Nevada, the state of Nevada plaintiff versus Devyn Jade Michaels, aka Nikki Fairchild, aka Tracy Baker, aka Tracy Nicole Tavares, defendant, case number C23377-239-1, Department 10, third.
This guy's a little he's a little spiced up. He's like moving around. He's like, yeah, I love reading this. This is gonna be great. Like, this is his moment.
Someone else said, Curticus micropenicus. It caught on. I started a trend. I'm so proud of my fellow degenerates.
You did it. You did it, brother.
Amended indictment, state of Nevada, County of Clark, the defendant above named, Devyn Jade Michaels, aka Nikki Fairchild, aka Tracy Baker, aka Tracy Nicole Tavares, accused by the Clark County Grand
Nikki Fairchild. Which one of those? I guess I wonder if those were all porn names.
Jury of the crime of murder with use of a deadly weapon, committed at or within the County of Clark, state of Nevada, on or about the 7th day of August 2023 as follows. Did willfully, unlawfully, feloniously, and with malice aforethought kill Jonathan Willett, a human being, with use of a deadly weapon, to wit, a wooden stick and or other unknown object, by striking the said Jonathan Willett with said wooden stick and or other unknown object, and or through other unknown means, the said killing having been 1, willful, deliberate, and premeditated, and or 2, committed during the perpetration or attempted perpetration of a robbery. Dated this 28th day of October 2025, Stephen B. Wolfson, Clark County District Attorney, by John Giordani, Chief Deputy District Attorney, to which the defendant has pled not guilty to.
Ladies and gentlemen, please understand that the second amended indictment is simply a charge and that it is not in any sense evidence of the allegations it contains. The defendant has pled not guilty to the second amended indictment. The state therefore has the burden of proving each of the essential elements of the second amended indictment beyond a reasonable doubt. As the defendant sits there now, she's not guilty. The purpose of this trial is to determine whether the state will meet that burden. It is your primary responsibility as jurors to find and determine the facts. Under our system of criminal procedure, you are the sole judge of the facts. You are here to determine the facts from the testimony you hear and other evidence, including exhibits introduced in court. It is up to you to determine the inferences which you feel may be properly drawn from the evidence. Ladies and gentlemen, you must base your verdict solely on the evidence presented in the courtroom and the instructions from the law that I give to you. To protect the integrity of the jury process, it is very important that you do not do any independent research about this case until the jury has reached a verdict. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot of media coverage in regards to this case, but it's very important that you do not watch any media coverage of this case, or you do not do any.
I don't know if there's a lot of media coverage of this case. I heard about it from a chat member, and then I didn't really see much about it at all.
Any additional media searches on your own about this case. You may not visit any location involved in this case. You must not do any research or look up words, names, maps, or anything else that may have anything to do with this case. This includes any reading of newspapers, watching television, or using a computer, cell phone, the internet, or any other means to get information related to the case or the people and places involved in the case. This applies whether you're in the courthouse, at home, or anywhere else. Additionally, until you're discharged from your service as a juror, you must not provide or receive any information about your jury service to anyone, including your friends, coworkers, and family members. You may tell people you've been picked for a jury and how long the case will take. However, you must not give any information about the case itself or the people involved in the case. You must also warn people not to try to say anything to you or write to you about your jury service or write to you about this case. This includes face-to-face, phone, or computer communications. In this age of electronic communication, I want to stress that you must not use electronic devices or computers to research or talk about this case. This includes Googling, tweeting, texting, blogging, emailing, posting information on a website, or any other means at all. All of us are depending on you to follow these rules so that there will be a fair and lawful resolution to this case. You may not declare to your fellow jurors any facts relating to this case of your own knowledge. And if you discover during the trial or after the jury has retired that you or any other juror has personal knowledge of any witness or fact in controversy in this case, you must disclose that information to me outside the presence of the other jurors. The evidence in this case will consist of sworn testimony of witnesses, all exhibits received in evidence, regardless of which side introduces the evidence. If the attorneys on both sides stipulate to the existence of a fact, you must, unless otherwise instructed, accept the stipulation as evidence and regard that fact as proven. I may take judicial notice of certain facts or events. If I take judicial notice of a fact or event, you must accept that fact as true. In every case, there are two types of evidence, direct and circumstantial. Direct evidence is testimony by a witness about what the person saw or heard or did. Circumstantial evidence is testimony or exhibits which are proof of a particular fact, from which if that fact is proven, you can infer the existence of a second fact. For example, if you're outside and you see and feel raindrops falling on you, that's direct evidence that it's raining because you can feel and see the raindrops fall on you. But if you go to sleep at night and the ground is dry, but when you wake up in the morning, the ground is all wet and there are puddles outside, that is circumstantial evidence that it rained while you were asleep. Although you didn't see it raining, you know the ground was dry when you went to sleep, and now it is wet, and that is circumstantial evidence that it rained last night.
So I know this is kind of like a foregone conclusion for many of you. Like, you know, these things, what direct evidence and circumstantial evidence is. Direct evidence, I saw him stab someone. Circumstantial evidence is I saw a knife in the person's chest and they were the only other person around. So you circumstantially infer that they're the person who did the stabbing. Direct evidence is typically stronger than circumstantial evidence. However, circumstantial evidence is sufficient to convict someone if you still prove it beyond a reasonable doubt in the eyes of the jury. So you see this sometime on shows where they're like, oh, you got circumstantial evidence. It's like, well, yeah, but if you have a lot of it, like then, and it leads directly to the conclusion that you've done it, you know, that's that. In my case, all they would have is circumstantial evidence. They wouldn't have any direct evidence that I was in possession of drugs at the time that they raided my house, because I wasn't there, right? Like I was in a different place. But circumstantially, like the bunch of things would lead to the conclusion that they were mine. So that's just kind of like a primer on it. I know many of you know that difference. The judge is not dealing with y'all, though. The judge is dealing with a jury, and juries are made up of anybody. You know, you might have a astrophysicist with multiple PhDs or whatever, sitting right next to a guy who, you know, has a fifth grade education. You don't know. So the judge has to kind of explain this the best she can.
You may consider both direct and circumstantial evidence in deciding this case. The law permits you to give equal weight to both types of evidence, but it's up to you to decide how much weight to give to a particular piece of evidence. The parties may sometimes make objections to some of the testimony or other evidence. It is the duty of a lawyer to object to the evidence which he or she believes may not properly be offered, and you should not be prejudiced in any way against a lawyer who makes objections on behalf of the party he or she represents. At times, I may sustain objections or direct that you disregard certain testimony or exhibits. You must not consider any evidence to which an objection has been sustained or which I've instructed you to disregard. You also must not consider anything which you may have seen or heard when court is not in session, even if what you see or hear is said or done by one of the parties or by one of the witnesses. In considering the weight and value of the testimony of any witness, you may take into consideration the appearance, attitude, and behavior of the witness, the interest of the witness in the outcome of the case, if any, the relation of the witness to the defendant or the state, the inclination of the witness to speak truthfully or not, and the probability or improbability of the witness's statements and all of the facts and circumstances and evidence. Thus, you may give the testimony of any witness just such weight and value as you believe the testimony of the witness is entitled to receive. After these instructions, we'll have an opening statement by the state, maybe an opening statement by the defense, the state's evidence, the defense's evidence, if they desire to present any evidence, jury instructions, and closing arguments. Opening statements and closing arguments are intended to help you in understanding the evidence and applying the law, but please understand that what the attorneys tell you is not evidence. At the conclusion of the evidence, I will instruct you on the law. You must not be concerned with the wisdom of any rule of law stated in these instructions or the instructions that I will read to you after the evidence is in. Regardless of any opinion you may have as to what the law ought to be, it would be a violation of your oath to base a verdict about any other view of the law than that given to you by the court. Until the case is submitted to you, you must not discuss it with anyone, not even with your fellow jurors. After it's submitted to you, you must discuss it only in the jury room with your fellow jurors. It is important that you keep an open mind and not decide any issue in the case until the entire case has been submitted to you under instructions from me. Again, if you discover during the course of the trial that you have personal knowledge of the facts of the case, or that you know one of the witnesses, please give a note to the marshal who will present it to me. During this trial, it may be necessary for me to confer with the lawyers at the bench.
As an expert, this guy's nose is truly magnificent. Look, that's a shout out to my fellow saddle face. Get it, brother.
About questions of law or procedure that I need to make a decision on. Sometimes you may be excused from the courtroom for the same reason. I will try to limit these interruptions as much as possible. Please understand if we take a break, it is necessary, and we appreciate your patience. You will be given a badge to wear during your jury service. Please wear the badge at all times while you're in the courthouse or on a break. This badge lets everyone know that you're a juror in this case. This is important because during the course of this trial, the attorneys for both sides and court personnel, other than the marshal, are not permitted to talk to members of the jury. By this, I mean not only can they not talk to you about the case, they can't talk to you at all, not even to ask you what time it is. This badge helps them identify you as a juror. If someone will not talk to you, please understand that they are not being rude. To ensure the absolute impartiality of the jury, the people involved in the case are bound by ethics and law to avoid contact with jurors until the case is decided. You've also been given papers and pens for your use. You are free to take notes during the trial if you wish, but please keep the notes to yourself until you and your fellow jurors go to the jury room to decide the case. Do not let note-taking distract you. You should also rely on your own memory of what was said and not be overly influenced by the notes of other jurors. If jurors have conflicting notes, you should not rely on the notes because the court recorder's record contains the complete and authentic record of this trial. I will also type my own.
Kim Shi, this is not the OnlyFans murder. The OnlyFans murder is Courtney Clenny. She is blonde and white. This woman is not either of those things. This is apparently an adult film actress from traditional pornography, not OnlyFans.
Notes during trial. Please do not take this into consideration. If I begin to type during a witness's testimony, you are not to consider that testimony any more important than any other testimony. In fact, you're not to consider anything I say or do during this trial to suggest that I'm inclined to favor the claims or position of either party. I'm required to remain neutral. It would be wrong for you to conclude that anything I say or do means I'm for one side or another in this trial. Discussing and deciding the facts is your job and your job alone. Jurors are allowed to ask questions. The procedures require that you write your juror number and question on a full sheet of paper and give it to the marshal while the witness is still in the courtroom. Questions must be factual in nature and designed to clarify information already presented. If it's a proper question under the court rules, I'll ask it. If the evidence rules prevent me from asking the question, then I won't ask the question. If I don't ask the question, I'll keep the question and explain after trial the purpose of the rule that precluded me from asking it. Please reserve your questions until the attorneys have finished asking questions of the witness, as the attorneys will likely ask your question. Jurors must not place undue weight on the responses to their questions or draw any conclusion because the questions was not asked. There may be some testimony in this case that will be given through an interpreter. An interpreter will provide a translation for you at the time the testimony is given. You must rely on the translation provided by the interpreter, even if you understand the language that's spoken by the witness. Do not retranslate any testimony for other jurors. If you believe the court interpreter translated testimony incorrectly, let me know immediately by writing a note and giving it to the marshal prior to the witness being excused from the courtroom. Finally, in fairness to the parties in this case, you should keep an open mind throughout this trial, reaching your conclusion only during your final deliberations after all the evidence is in and you've heard the attorney's closing arguments and my instructions to you on the law. Now that I've given my preliminary instructions, the clerk will now administer the oath to the members of the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise and raise your right hand so that the clerk can administer the oath?
I have been doing some research off. Oh wait, my glasses off screen there. And she used to be very pretty, very, very attractive. I mean, she's almost 50 years old now, and so, you know, things kind of change a little bit. But you know, in her working days, we'll say that she was a spicy lady.
You and each of you do solemnly swear that you will well and truly try the case at issue and a true verdict render according to the evidence, so help you God. You be seated. Thank you.
Thank you all. State, are you prepared to give an opening statement?
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Prior to that, can counsel approach?
What the fuck was that? Thanks. They have a white noise machine to block out. They have a white noise machine to block out, you know, the ability to hear them at the fucking at sidebar. But we're about to start opening arguments.
On August 7th of
Okay, I think we're gonna go right now, so we should have the prosecution up first.
On August 7th of 2023, the defendant, Devyn Michaels, brutally murdered and savaged the body of her ex, Jonathan Willett. But the story did not begin on August 7th of 2023, and all I can say is buckle up because you're in for a wild ride.
That's promising. That's promising. Buckle up, buckaroos. Strap in.
This is Jonathan in life. It's Jonathan's two young children that he shared with the defendant. Both girls, faces blocked out. They're preteen young children. You will learn during the course of this trial that John...
Of course you are, you sick fuck.
Hold on, let me
This is
start.
going to be fun.
Yeah.
Judge says, don't look up words. Sounds kinky. I'm in.
Of course you are, you sick fuck.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you to the anonymous donator there. Chris Benoit says, thank God I was smart enough to avoid show trials like this. I think she was set up. It happens more than you think. Trust me, I know. You are the expert, Chris Benoit.
John had a son from a prior relationship named Devyn. That after Devyn was born, he split with Devyn's mother, eventually getting into a relationship with the defendant. They then had these two children together. They separated, and there was a custody agreement that was ordered by the family court in which the victim had full physical custody of the girls. You will learn that the defendant was not happy about that situation, that the defendant wanted to have control of her girls, and she wanted to start a new life with Devyn, the same Devyn that is John's son. On August 7th of 2023, Yoko...
Yeah, if you didn't catch that, she wanted to have a new life with the son. So that's at Angel Australia, member for 35 months. Says 35 months of fun. What a ride. Keep it going, Nick. Loving the look. Hey, thank you, Angel Australia. I have no intention of stopping.
Willett, an elderly woman, woke up to find her dead son in his room with what she referred to as his face and neck missing. This is the 911 call she placed.
Yes, this is Yoko Willett. My number is address is 2698 Aradura Drive, Henderson, Nevada.
Can you imagine having to make this phone call? Oh my God. Like, People kind of go into like shock and autopilot, and sometimes they sound kind of detached when they make these. That's why I don't like in the Murdaugh trial, they used his phone call against him and stuff, but it's like, what do you do? How do you run across this?
Yeah, 702-203-8975. Okay, I went downstairs and my son is on the bed and I open the cover. It's all bloody. I don't know. Can you come over?
Yeah, we're coming up here. What happened to him, you know?
I have no idea. And he goes to the outside this morning,
Is he awake now? Is he awake?
I think he's dead.
Listen to me, I already have a calling for help, okay? How old is your son?
Is he awake? He doesn't have a head at this point. So she's like, I think he's dead. I think he's going, like, I don't mean to laugh, but like, holy shit. Is he awake? No. Not really. I'm pretty sure. Cat Not Williams joins. Thank you for joining as a member. Angel Australia 1302 sent 5 gifted memberships. Make sure if you get one, you say thank you. And to all members, there will be a members show tonight at 9 p.m. Central Time ish. Might be like 9:30 or whatever, but around 9 p.m. Central, it will be Mersh and I doing a Cooking with Kurt segment. It will be fun. It will be funny. You're right. Joe Schmo, she's not a doctor. Well, wait, you just assume that because it's a woman? I think she's Asian. She might be. But anyway, but no, she's presumably not a doctor. So how is she supposed to know? I don't know. We'll find out.
About 46 seconds.
Is he breathing?
Oh, bloody all over.
Where's he bleeding from, him?
I don't know from yet, God comes to this.
Do you see any weapons around him?
No.
What do you harm himself? Can you tell?
What?
Did he look like he hurt himself at all? Like maybe shot himself?
No idea. Those was on the yard. I told him I didn't know he was trying to move out from my house.
Okay.
And his girlfriend was here yesterday.
Okay. When's the last time you saw him? Yeah, when's the last time you saw him okay? How long ago?
Last night.
Last night?
Yeah. I think somebody has come to eat.
Okay, yeah, we're already on the way, okay? We're going to try to help him before we get there. Do you have a defibrillator available inside your house?
Huh?
Do you have a defibrillator available at your house, a shocking machine?
I don't.
That's okay, ma'am. What I want you to do is see, do you feel safe to get right next to him so we can try to just...
That is what police found when they arrived at the Willette residence.
These lawyers are sitting there going, fuck. That wasn't good at all.
Jonathan on his bed in his bedroom. As you can see, his head is missing. Large blood stain at the foot of the bed there, and a large amount of blood underneath where his head should be. Officers eventually removed the cover from his body and noted several chemical burns, or what appeared to be strange chemical burns on his body. And a very
Look, even I have limits. Chemical play I'm not into. What is that? What's chemical burns?
clean decapitation that you can see there. Henderson Police Department was responsible for the investigation after first responders arrived on scene. Clearly could.
This guy unironically looks like the guy who works at the suit store that I go to all the time. I'm going to have to tell him, like, dude, I didn't know you were a lawyer.
Couldn't render any medical aid to the victim. They locked down the scene. Homicide investigators are then enlisted and take over. Along with the homicide investigators, they bring out an army of crime scene analysts and treat this case obviously very seriously. And they go into the home after executing a search warrant. When they go into the home, they obviously focus on the bedroom, but they do a pretty thorough search of the entire residence, the curtilage, the backyard, the front, the trash cans, the upstairs bedrooms, the kitchen, the living room, and these are the items that they find. A couple of chemical bottles, obviously relevant for the potential chemical burns on the victim's body. They find some interesting writings that you'll see a little bit more of later, demonstrating that there was a contentious custody case going on between the victim and someone at that point, someone. They see out front John's moving truck, the victim's moving truck. You will learn that he had a moving business. There's a trailer on the back. It's parked a little cattywampus, going the wrong way on the street and poking out into the street.
No lawyer in court should use the term cattywampus unless they're over 90. What the fuck? It's a little cattywampus going out. I'm sorry. What does that mean? Can you define cattywampus for us?
As though he may have planned on moving after he last parked that car or truck. But the items that weren't found are what was particularly notable for the investigators. They didn't find a murder weapon. They didn't find whatever this person used to cut his head off. They did not find his head. They did not find his wallet. They did not find his truck keys, and they did not find his phone. They interviewed Yoko.
So this is again, this is one of those cases where some people in like popular media fuels this. They're like, you don't have a murder weapon? How can you possibly convict? Look, man, all you need to do is get beyond any reasonable doubt. Now, sometimes a lack of a murder weapon would be reasonable doubt, but a lot of times it's not. It's like, we couldn't find the knife that was used to chop the head off. Okay. But the head is gone. Like, it was removed. There clearly was a knife. So now you connect the dots on where she was, like, was she there, etc. Dirt Cheap 8584, member for just 1 month. Welcome. Says, I get it, Joe. It's hard to drive with heels on. Is that towards good logic? Oh my God.
And the gentleman above Yoko's photo is Yoshida, her partner. According to Yoko and Yoshida, the defendant, who they referred to as Nikki and knew as Nikki, ultimately identified as Devyn Michaels, was the last person to see Jonathan alive. Nikki and John had been moving the girls and John's items from this Paladura address to Nikki's address on Porcupine Rim that she shared with Devyn, and for a temporary period over the summer, the young girls. They learned that Nikki and John returned to this address, the Paladura address, for the last time at 10 p.m. on August 6th, or around 10 p.m. They learned from Yoko that about 1 a.m., she was going downstairs for a glass of water and ran into the defendant, who she will describe to you when you hear from her as she appeared to be startled to see me. The defendant and Yoko have a conversation. It's relatively brief. Yoko's in the kitchen cleaning up some dishes. The defendant has now entered the kitchen, and they begin to talk when the defendant tells Yoko, John's asleep. Don't go in there. Those aren't her words.
Don't go in there. No, he's asleep. Don't look, or whatever. Crow, or CRO, Cero, whatever. Welcome to Paralegal Status. Thanks for joining up. Solomon says, Nick Cecil was talking about having you on a stream at some point. Is that a possibility? Absolutely. I love Cecil. Cecil's great.
So you'll hear this through the course of the trial. She says, John's asleep. He's passed out. We have plans for him to move some more stuff in the morning. Kind of don't bother him kind of thing. Yoko then noticed that the lights were on in John's room, but decided, hey, if he's asleep, I'm not going to go in there. She returns back upstairs. Yoko went to sleep, leaving Nikki, or the defendant, alone in the home. You will learn very clearly that there were only 4 people in the home at the time of this incident: the victim, the defendant, Yoko, and Yoshida. Yoko also will tell you that around 8 a.m. she found John without a face. You probably heard from the 911 call, there's a bit of a language barrier. She'll do her best to describe what she initially saw and the shock, obviously, that ensued. So the defendant is the last person to see him, so investigators are very curious to speak with her. Homicide detectives summon her to the scene. They get a hold of her via a phone number given by a neighbor. She answers that phone. It's her phone. She agrees to come to the scene, leaving Devyn and the girls are with the defendant as well. She, in her initial interview, says John is her ex. They share the 2 children together, that they spent the whole day together on August 6th, moving, shopping for the girls' school supplies, etc. Everything's normal from her perspective. That evening, they were moving the girls' things into her home on Porcupine, and she was, in fact, at the Paladura residence last night doing that. She would go on to describe it's a normal night, there's nothing out of sorts, and that John was alive and well in the garage when she left. Remember that. Further investigation, of course, occurs. Homicide detectives are treating this very seriously. You will learn from many of them that when a homicide such as this comes in, they divide.
Come on, guys, 1 second. Love you too. Sorry, I just had to hand Lady Ragged some keys. All right, I'm back.
Too much for one person to do. And so, although there is a lead detective who goes by the name of Dennis Ozawa, Detective Ozawa was not in any way the only person investigating this case. He had an entire team, and you will hear from many of those people. You will learn that one big thing in the modern days of investigation is video cameras. They're everywhere in our valley, so they canvass all around. The Paladura residence is kind of right in the middle of all those yellow markers. They canvassed all these different addresses for anything who saw, heard anything, and anyone who had a camera. Some of those were fruitful, some of them were not. They knocked on the doors where video cameras were visibly present. They even knocked on doors where they weren't present in the hope.
Now, this is amazing because notice a very quick interjection here. Notice the difference between this and Karen Reed, right? Like they're checking for video evidence all over the place. They're looking around everywhere. And if you're considering murdering someone, this is not legal advice. I am not currently licensed to provide it. This is murder advice and crime advice that I'm giving you because I can't be stopped now. No, if you're looking to murder someone, you gotta be very wary of the amount of cameras that are everywhere now. Everybody has Ring cameras and stuff like that, and they're recording all the time, even when they're not necessarily obviously preserved. So you can't just assume that that things won't be there. So make sure you dress up like someone else. George Floyd is a good person to dress up as. For example, like if you're trying to commit a crime, especially if it's to threaten like a pregnant woman or something, George Floyd is a good one. Or any congressman. If you're going to murder someone, dress up like a congressman. That's my recommendation to you. And if you're a guy, definitely dress up like AOC because it's funnier.
Hopes that maybe someone saw or heard something, and they gathered a lot of footage. We're going to do our best during the course of this trial to streamline it for you. There's hundreds of hours of footage, and we're going to present it in the best way we can. They also learned that there is a neighbor directly to the left of the homicide scene who had a motion activated Ring camera, which will become important later in the trial. There also was an autopsy, of course. The Henderson Detective Ozawa attended that autopsy. You will hear from the medical examiner in this case, Dr. Stephanie Yagi with the Clark County Coroner's Office, who enlisted the assistance of a forensic anthropologist, Dr. Burns, who works out of UNLV. You will learn that Dr. Yagi surmised that the cause of death was homicidal violence and the manner of death was homicide. You will learn that she noted the non-thermal chemical burns on the body, which did not contribute to his death, but were notable for investigative purposes. Something important I want you to keep in the back of your mind is there were no bleeding injuries anywhere else on the body, so everything was focused neck and above. You will learn that the decapitation occurred post-mortem. There are histological reactions that the body has if this type of thing happens while you're still alive and your body is trying to actively repair itself. None of those were present during the course of the autopsy, and so the doctor will testify that this was a post-mortem decapitation. As I mentioned, she enlisted the assistance of a forensic.
So no fun, no fun. She chops his head off after he's already dead. If you do that, you can't hear him scream. I don't recommend it.
Anthropologist, Dr. Burns, you will hear from her as well. She will talk about the science behind what she does. And in this particular case, she was enlisted for the main purpose of determining what was used to cut off Mr. Willette's head. She will tell you that she did microscopic examination during the course of.
Does postmortem help or hurt your case? Neither. It depends on if they need like an aggravating factor or some sort of thing to bring it like from a third degree to second or second to first or whatever. Postmortem beheading shows potentially like an act of passion or rage, not necessarily thought through. They could argue they're wrapped up in emotions or whatever. I don't know. You have to figure out how to argue with what you got.
That thorough examination, she determined very clearly that there were 2 separate instruments used to chop off his head. She even can narrow it down by time because of the layering of the artifacts on the bones. And so she will surmise and testify that first, a serrated or non-serrated knife was used. So a knife, whether serrated or not. When that was unsuccessful, the defendant then used a powered saw of some sort.
We saw this in Taylor Business. Most people don't realize how hard it is to butcher a human body. You've got to get through bones. If you don't know what you're doing and you don't know where joint separations and stuff are, and you just have like a kitchen knife, it doesn't work that well. If you have an extremely sharp knife and know how to get between the spaces, in the vertebrae and stuff like that, and you take your time, yeah, you can do it. But severing a human head is not simple. Killing someone by attempting to sever their head is not that hard, but actually severing the head cleanly is a lot of work. In the Taylor Business case, it was like 4 different knives that she tried, different striations and shit were on the bone that allowed them to identify the different implements that were used. But it's not a simple task at all. And unless you have experience like butchering animals or something like that, most people don't realize that, unless they've thought about it a lot or watched trials.
Narrow it down to class, you will learn, or class of tool, you will learn that the bones in the neck, the cervical spine, are very small. There are areas on it which would reflect these markings, but they are so small that she can't really surmise what type of saw. She'll testify that if it's a long bone, she has seen cases with involving dismemberment, but not a decapitation. But with dismemberment of larger bones, you can see more, which allows you to narrow down the type of saw that was used. But here, that's not possible. Nonetheless, she will testify clearly that it was 2 different instruments, knife first.
One thing about serrated knives, just to add on to this, and saw blades are the same. They're not particularly sharp in the same way that just a straight edge knife is sharp. Straight edge knives, of course, have microscopic serrations that are doing the cutting, but the larger the serrations, the more visible they are, the more likely they are to be just tearing. They kind of catch onto things and rip them apart, as opposed to slicing through, which is why serrated things and saws are, good for cutting through bone, and stuff like that. Eventually, like, depends on how much bone you got to cut through and the quality of the blade and all that. But they're better for cutting through bone because they're actually breaking apart the material just in kind of a controlled chaos. Whereas a regular knife is good for slicing through meat, but not necessarily through bone. The way to solve this problem is just to use an axe or a cleaver like a goddamn man.
Saw second. Further investigation also revealed what Mr. Draskovich alluded to in jury selection, a very non-traditional family situation. And I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier. The investigation revealed that the defendant, after splitting with John, ultimately married his son, Devyn. Devyn moves in with her. They are together for an extended period of time. The defendant loses custody of the girls, and eventually the girls end up for a short period of time over the summer of 2023 before school starts, living in the home with the defendant and Devyn, with Jonathan living back at the Paladura residence with his mom and Yashida. This is Clark County Department of Family Services document showing the parent placement verification letter describing that John was awarded full physical custody of the girls on October 27th of 2022. That Jonathan, as I said, and the girls were living at 2698 Paladura at the time. You can see in the document that the defendant had weekly supervised visitation with the girls for an extended period of time. And you will learn through various witnesses that John kind of bent the rules with that and allowed her to see the girls a little bit more than was court ordered. You will also learn that John allowed the girls to stay with the defendant and Devyn, as I mentioned, at the Porcupine Rim address over the summer of 2023, and that Jonathan was going to move in with the defendant and the girls to try to stabilize their lives and basically try to get everyone under the same roof. The girls were having a real hard time with the custody situation, and his main focus was the girls. Obviously, with all this information they have gathered, the defendant is now a person of interest. She's the last person to see John. She's been over there very close in time to his murder.
I mean, I Googled her. She's already a person of interest, if you know what I'm saying.
There's all these ties. There's the custody paperwork I showed you earlier, the writings that were in his room. And so they respond to Porcupine Rim. I can't remember if I put a map in here, but I'll just tell you we'll have a Google map for you that shows the distance between the homes. They're about 30 minutes apart. Paladura is in Henderson. Porcupine Rim is in Las Vegas, and it's a pretty good distance, about 30 minutes. The detectives will tell you, and this is Detective Ozawa and Detective Carrie Skinner, that when they go to the residence, they observe the defendant. She's kind of either moving stuff or moving back and forth between the home and the vehicle, and they note a couple of things before they approach and make contact with her. You see the Nissan Armada, which is the defendant's vehicle, looks pretty clean and shiny. You will see that cell phone on the right. The detectives observe that.
We have Grifty dropping 5 gifted subs. Thank you, Grifty, for that. And for those of you who get those subs, make sure you give Grifty a thank you, and also that you tune into the members only show tonight, since someone has bought you a ticket. So come join us 9 p.m. ish, maybe 9:30 Central. You can check on Locals and Twitter for the announcement. See you guys there.
When they first drove up, kind of sitting in the rocks near the driveway, thought, okay, that's weird, but we're not going to touch it. We're not executing a search warrant yet. They leave it be, and then they make contact with the defendant to interview her again, because now they know some more things and things aren't quite adding up, and they want to know a little bit more. They make contact with the defendant, and this is prior to them going into the home and executing a search warrant on the home. They get a little more information, but the story generally remains the same, that John recently dated Andrea. This is extra information. But that last night he threw away his engagement ring in the trash can at Paladura, which, remember that. That John wanted to get back together with her romantically. This is new information. And move in, which we already know to provide stability for the girls. She mentioned that Yoko does not know Devier and I are married. She claimed that her marriage with Devier was one of convenience for insurance purposes and non-romantic and not sexual in nature. You will learn, and you'll actually hear it, the interview. During this interview out in the police vehicle.
We also have 5 gifted memberships from me. That's right. Welcome. Welcome to everybody who got one of those. Fletcher Boy also gifted 5 more memberships, and a big thank you to Fletcher Boy for that.
Go in front of Porcupine Rim, the girls walk up and you can hear them, their sweet little voices, and they're like, "This is Daddy's phone. This is Daddy's phone. This is why he wasn't answering." The detectives realize that's kind of important. They take the phone from the girls, or the girls give it to them, and the detectives note blood on the phone. Something important. They ask the defendant, "Well, how did this get here?" And she responded generally that he must have left it here earlier in the day when he was moving, and I don't know. I mean, there's a cigarette butt over there. I know he smoked cigarettes. It's by where the phone was. He probably left it. And the detectives are a little suspicious of that. They ask her a few more questions. Again, you're going to hear this stuff in the audio recording. So I've summarized it. And then ultimately at the end, she again sticks with this. John was alive and well in the garage when I left. As I mentioned, the detectives then obtain a search warrant and execute that search warrant on the home. They also get the warrant for the vehicles. You'll learn that white moving van is Devier's work van. He was a home security installer. He did various jobs for a legitimate company. They searched that vehicle, nothing of evidentiary value.
I wouldn't want to live on a street called anything Rim. I wouldn't want to do it. I would be embarrassed personally.
Found in that vehicle. You can also barely see behind the van. There's a small sedan that's inoperable, but they search it nonetheless. They find nothing of evidentiary value. When it comes to the defendant's Nissan Armada, they photograph it on the outside, but then they apply seals to every opening, and then they tow that to have it searched later at their lab. You will learn they find in the garage the Ring cameras from John's home. Little weird. They grab them up. They see.
Angel Australia dropping 5 more gifted memberships. Big thank you to you, Angel. Really appreciate that. Chad Parsons over on Rumble says, just because the decedent is missing a head does not prove he's not alive and practicing law somewhere in Minnesota. Hey, wait a minute. Hey, wait a minute.
Sees them pursuant to the search warrant in the hopes that maybe since these are the cameras from John's home, it captured something. There is no footage, unfortunately, associated with it. They issued administrative subpoenas and attempted to obtain footage from Ring. There was no footage because he didn't have the right account to store the Ring footage in the cloud.
And then another 5 gifted memberships from Dirt Cheap 8584. Thank you guys so much. We are now at 39 new members for the stream. It's 39 people who have the opportunity to come watch the show tonight. And oh my gosh, ACS Drafting drops another 5 gifted subs. Holy shit, you guys are really, really killing it. That should put us at 44. And look, if you're 44, don't go down to 16, 17, or 18. That's just my personal opinion. To the 44s out there, don't drop to 16, 17, or 18. Cat Not Williams, 5 more gifted memberships, which brings us to 49 new members. And if you guys happen to get a membership, make sure you send a thank you in chat to those who gave it to you. Really appreciate you guys giving other people the opportunity to check out the members only content, and we're gonna have a good time tonight. Again, members only show tonight, 9 or 9:30, somewhere in there, with special guest Mersh. It is Cooking with Kurt. Soup time is a glorious time.
And I'm butchering the technical terms, I'm sure, but you'll hear all of this from witnesses. They also noted that there was no SD card in the cameras themselves, but nonetheless, they took them, they seized them pursuant to the search warrant, just to make sure. You will also learn they find several of defendants' writings throughout the home describing kind of the relationship with Devyn, not exactly how the defendant described it to them to begin with. Very importantly, they find the defendant's purse. Inside her purse, they find the victim's social security card, along with one of her work cards.
Holy crap, we have four chihuahuas. You have 4 of them? XOX, welcome to Paralegal Status. Thank you so much for joining. And then we have Shelly C8173 dropping 10 more gifted memberships. Like, god damn. We are on fire tonight. That brings us to 60 new members. Y'all are amazing. Absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal. I love all of you and your pretty profile pictures. Putrid Fetidini. What it says, long crime won't give you shit for this, will they? I don't think so. They tried the one time and they backed off pretty much right away. You know, the big problem that they have is I'm offering something that they don't, which is live trial analysis and commentary. And that's not present in this video. It's just a video of a public proceeding. And yeah, we're gonna watch and I believe we're firmly in the educational exception and the fair use exceptions to any sort of copyright concerns. Shannon Mamada 4 as a member for 1 month says, looking forward to bad cooking with Kurt later on. How dare you? How dare you judge him? Kat Not Williams says, has upgraded her membership to lawyer status. Thank you. Welcome to being better than a paralegal. Oh my goodness. You guys are amazing.
This is the defendant's bedroom. What I've circled there is basically her underwear drawer. When you execute a search warrant, you go through everything. You basically toss the place. And when they were searching the defendant's underwear drawer, they found something. And my mouse is freezing on me here. Very important. They find several layers of knotted plastic bags, and inside they find the victim's wallet, current identification, and his only set of truck keys.
Hey guys, make sure you have your accepting of gifted memberships turns on. Angel Australia has asked a couple times now in chat for you guys to confirm that you have your gifting turned on. I don't remember exactly where that setting is, but make sure you are able to accept gifted subscriptions for those who are happy to give them to you. So real quick, they're not showing us all the photos like of the dead dude or whatever, but we do have this. These things were found, you know, that's kind of suspicious, very shady.
After the search warrant, they speak with the defendant again. They learn that the defendant's version regarding the phone is that she has no idea how it ended up there. They confront her with the blood on the screen.
Holy shit. The Mambro dude dropping 5 more gifted subs. We are on a run. Are we going to get to 100 subs today? Like, that'd be insane. We're at 65 now. Like, you guys are fucking putting it down.
She initially says, oh, I don't know. And then she says he cut himself moving. Remember when I talked about the autopsy earlier, no other bleeding injuries on the victim's body. Remember that? She claims he cut himself while he was moving. There's no evidence to suggest that. They learned John wanted to move in with the defendant so we could have the girls under one roof and parent them. They further learn, although they already kind of know this, that John has physical custody of the girls, and the defendant claims she plays nice with him to kind of keep access to the girls and keep things kosher. They also learn, which is very important, that John was moving in quicker than she expected. They learn not only from the defendant but other witnesses that this idea of them reuniting for the children had been discussed for several months, but that on this night, on August 6th, John began loading stuff into the truck when
I just want to say, I do plan on, like, when he's done, I'll give like kind of my thoughts on it. Trying to just let him talk as much as possible, except when you guys interrupt it, happily so. Angel Australia, oh my goodness, dropping 10 more gifted, dare I say, grifted memberships. Thank you to Angel. Fucking amazing. We're now at 75 new members for the stream, which is a massive amount. It's an amount you could lay out on a table and be like, look at it. It's giant. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much to those who are gifting memberships and who are joining up. And one of the big things I've been trying to focus on is making sure that the members who are out there, are sufficiently fed with content that is in addition to what's going on. So we've been doing at least one members only show a week, typically on the weekend. That will happen tonight around 9 to 9:30 a.m. PM. Jadine with 5 more gifted memberships. We're at 80. We're at 80. You can't fucking stop this train. You cannot stop it. And I'm loving it. You guys are amazing.
the defendant is loading up the girl stuff into the truck, and she kind of realizes for the first time he was serious about
Wrestler Town, 5 more. It's like COVID in here. Don't put on your masks. Cough all over each other. Keep it going. Thank you. You guys are amazing.
this, and this is going to happen. And you'll learn that that's when the walls start closing in on the defendant, and she makes the decision she made. The detectives confront her with the fact that there is no notifications on the phone when the girls provide it. It's black. They open it, and there are no notifications on the screen. But that she...
Chris Olin drops 5 more gifted memberships. Good God. Are we? It puts us at 90. That puts us just 10 away from triple digits, which is completely arbitrary, but it is fun. It is fun. Again, sincerely, thank you guys. And thank you guys for giving some people the opportunity to enjoy some content that they may not always be able to enjoy. And look, I try and keep the membership prices low and stuff, but sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes you can't afford the $5 or the $2. Like, and I'm not joking about that. Like, I get it. I get it. I've been through plenty of those times in my life. And so thank you to those who are giving people the opportunity to get a little bit more entertainment and maybe get a little breather from it. Peanutty gifted a membership. Thank you so much, Peanutty, for that.
He had contacted him several times in the night before, and that those notifications should be there based on the timing of the phone arriving in her house. They ask her before telling her what they have found in the home. They ask her, hey, do you have any idea where John's wallet would be? She says very unequivocally, no idea. They then say, well, hey, we kind of found this ID in this wallet in your bedroom. And
I don't know where his wallet is. Well, we kind of found it where you sleep, like under your pillow, maybe. Lady Tammy gifted a membership. Thank you, Lady Tammy, so much for doing that. That's so super sweet of you.
she then changes her story, and she provides a version. Again, you will hear this in an audio recording in which she says it was back at the Paladura residence. She held the plastic bags open, and John placed his items into the bag, and she tied them up right in front of them. And they confront her when the story doesn't make sense over and over. And that's kind of the story she sticks with regard to that. You will learn there was an extensive follow-up investigation after that interview. Although things weren't adding up, although things looked very strange.
Lag 051183. 5 more gifted memberships. That puts us in, we're at 97. We're at 97 new members. We're in striking distance of 100. We've got some follow-up investigation. This guy is really laying out a very straightforward case. It's not super flashy or what, he's not sensationalizing it, and that's a real risk in cases like this. But they're laying out, this is the stuff that we do and don't have. The follow-up investigation showed nothing of evidentiary value on the chemical bottles as far as fingerprints go. DNA, the victim's blood on cracked screen of his cell phone, defendant's DNA on knot of plastic bags containing his wallet and keys. When someone lives in a place or is there frequently, their DNA kind of gets everywhere, and that'll likely be kind of the argument against that. But having it on the knot of the plastic bags containing the wallet and keys kind of implies that she's the one who tied the knot. That's a problem. And she said she didn't know where they were, etc. Digital investigation. The video surveillance rules out Devier, DFL, CDR. I don't know what those are. Also rules out Devier, and then Burla. So he hasn't gotten to these yet. So we'll see what he says in a second. We have Dirt Cheap gifting another membership, and Angel Australia with 5 more memberships, and Patricia Moore joining a paralegal. That's 104 members today. You guys are insane. You guys are insane. I'm going to have you all checked. I'm going to have you checked for rabies and mental, acuity. But you don't have to have acuity to be a cutie. Is that you don't have to have acuity to be a cutie. And you guys are all super cute to me. Thank you so much for doing that. You guys are amazing. Fucking great.
The detectives did not rush to judgment and arrest her right there. Although all of the victim's property is inside her home, his blood is at her scene, they don't arrest her right there. They choose to do follow-up investigation. You will learn there was fingerprint analysis that was done. Nothing really of evidentiary value comes of that. You will learn that DNA processing was done, that the victim's blood was in fact on the phone at her house, and that the defendant's DNA was on the knot of those plastic bags where his property was found inside. You will also learn that an extensive digital investigation was done, and that was in the form of video surveillance, digital forensics, meaning phone dumps. They take the actual devices found. There's 11 found inside her home, including the victims. They plug it into a machine. They'll talk about the technology. They're able to extract the data from the phone, and they find several things of note. They also do a call detail record investigation. That is
okay. So the DFL is a digital extraction on the phone. CDR is a call detail record, which he's about to call detail record, which he'll explain a little bit more. Netflutter 263 says, "Congratulations on hitting the goal. Another win for the Pope." That's right. That's right. We did it. I don't want to know what the goals of the Pope, like popes have been throughout history. Some of those got to be pretty fucked up. Dirt Cheap says, "Can you call us degenerates for old time's sakes?" Look, some of the biggest degenerates I know are cuties too. Like, you are disgusting and horrifying, and everything you do is bad and wrong. Welcome to being just like me.
The records that your cell phone maintain or are maintained on your cell phone, everybody's cell phone, with the company you used for service. And those records not only show incoming and outgoing messages,
especially the incoming with this chick. Not Cupcake says, "Does the evidentiary phase of this trial start tomorrow?" This trial is technically over. But yes, it starts on day 2. We have this day 1. There's also a day 1 part 2 video, which is shorter.
And calls, but they also show location data, because every time you place a call or receive one, you are.
Alice Martinez, you want to be called a degenerate specifically? I mean, I can tell from the mix of ethnicities in your name, Alice and Martinez, that degeneracy is certainly up your alley. And I am not surprised at all that you would be asking me to call you a degenerate. I can do that for you. What's up, you disgusting degenerate? Ned the janitor Gifted 5 more memberships. We keep going. We keep going. Thank you so much to Ned for that. Squid Pro Quo. I need a good fat shaming. You got to lose 30 pounds. Where do you think you're going to lose it? Like, the big problem is that, well, you know, you're the big problem, but the big problem is that you found the 30 pounds in the first place. Now, how the fuck are you going to lose it? You don't want to lose it. You need to get rid of it. You need to intentionally remove that from you. And look, you can start with diet and exercise, but you know, it might just end a little bit more gritty than that. If you have any cojones in those overfilled pants of yours, you will take extreme measures. And by extreme measures, I don't mean your 14th ice cream sundae of the day. I mean, like, hitting the gym and actually refusing to eat when people offer it to you. In fact, if someone offers you food, kill them, because you don't deserve to ever eat again. It's disgusting. Frankly, I can smell you from here. Fletcher Boy says, fat shame me, Nick, even though I'm skinny. See, I know you're lying. No one's skinny. None of you are skinny enough. None of you will ever be skinny enough. You can always be thinner. Just listen to the wise words of Patrick Bateman, because they're the most true thing in American Psycho. You can all be better. Trust me, I've seen too many of you. And I would say that if it was just one.
Or pinging on some kind of tower and leaving a trail of where you've been. Not a precise trail, but a general trail of where you've been. They also pull...
Angel, no, you don't get to say to ice cream sundaes. Turn that off. The only you should have is for Ipecac, which will make you thinner quick.
Burla. Burla is a lot more precise than the cell phone towers. That is an infotainment system inside the Nissan Armada.
Oh, I see. We're doing this. I just saw someone posted on Twitter something about how, like, your car is not a private place anymore. It isn't. Your cars even know when you're having sex. They know, like, you know, while you're parked or driving, I guess, doesn't matter. Your cars are recording everything that you do. And some people, like, willingly give authority to their insurance companies to add in, like, a black box for good driving habits and a 10% discount. Don't do that shit. Don't do that shit. That type of stuff can be subpoenaed and used against you. I am so close to wanting to just buy an old car that just has air conditioning and nothing else in it, because it's so fucking crazy how much data your car is collecting. Rachel, welcome to Paralegal Status. Thank you so much for joining up.
And they're able to extract that data, and I'll show you that in a moment. They very clearly get a timeline based upon the Burla. The defendant's vehicle is at the victim's home by 10 o'clock at night. The vehicle activates but does not move at about 11 o'clock at night. The vehicle leaves the home for good at 2:04 a.m. 2:04 a.m. on August 7th. And you'll see that in a moment. I've noted here that the video surveillance, DFL, and CDR rule out Devier. Obviously, he was interviewed. You will hear from him during the course of this trial, but they treat him as a suspect. Obviously, there's some fishy circumstances. They're not just pinning this on the defendant because what she's saying doesn't make sense. They're looking into both the defendant and Devier and others. The video surveillance that I'm referring to is kind of wide ranging. There is one particular camera you're going to learn about that was near the Porcupine Rim residence, the defendant's home. That is a full-time camera. It's not a motion activated camera that allows them to see the home, see what vehicles left, came and went at any given time, and they clearly rule out Devier from that video. In addition, I mentioned earlier, there's video surveillance from next door to the victim's home. That captures the defendant at around 11 a.m. going to her vehicle, moving it slightly, and then ultimately leaving. Gotta love technology. Here are a couple of additional clips from video surveillance. The one on the left is the defendant with the victim the night before when they're doing the moving. It shows us that they are together, that no third party is present, it's just them. They go into a store, they buy an item, and they leave. And then 2:28 a.m., the defendant is alone
She is appropriately wearing short shorts. If you're going to wear shorts, they need to be short. If you're not wearing short shorts, there's a reason. We all know it, and it's your own shame.
Kind of clipped off on this particular picture, but defendant is alone in her vehicle after she leaves the residence and goes back to her home, ultimately landing there about 2:46 a.m. Those digital forensic examinations I mentioned become relevant, especially when it comes to Devyn. There's much more than this, but I'm trying to narrow it down for the opening statement. This particular message was sent from Devyn to the defendant. As you can see at 10:36 p.m. See you when you get back. I'm going to sleep. Girls are in the living room. And the video surveillance supports that. This image you're seeing now is the CDR cell tower location data. There is much more to it when the witness testifies. There's a bunch of animated videos you're going to see. Just for this purpose, I did a screenshot. The blue and red represent the victim and the defendant's phone, and the green represents Devyn's phone at our operative time period, showing him across town when that last message was sent and throughout the evening. You'll also see the burla that I referenced earlier.
I'm sorry. Kibble Wibble, say, if you dare wear short shorts, are you threatening me? Are you impliedly threatening me? Because I'll tell you what I've been doing lately. I've been going to Goodwill and buying every pair of dress pants that doesn't look absolutely horrible. Like they can look a little horrible. That fits my waist. And I don't even care what the leg measurement is because I'm going to take them all to a tailor and have them hemmed to be the shortest fucking shorts. Because you can't buy short shorts anymore. And these thighs exist for a reason.
As I mentioned, burla leaves actual GPS breadcrumbs like by the foot. So as opposed to just a tower you're hitting on, this is actually showing the track. And you're going to see very clearly when the defendant came and went from the victim's residence on the night of August 6th, as well as when she left on August 7th. After all of this information is gathered, it's very clear that the defendant did this to the detectives. They make the decision to place her under arrest for murder with use of a deadly weapon. After she is arrested,
all right, we got a post-arrest interview. I'm sure this went well for her.
She is interviewed again. This time they try with two different detectives. Obviously, the statements she gave earlier were inconsistent, and so they send in a couple of other detectives, and you'll hear from that detective as well. In this particular interview, the defendant acknowledged that she realized John was actually moving in, that at the time of the murder, she was giving John a massage on the bed. While he was lying on his stomach, the defendant got up, walked over to the fireplace and grabbed a large, what she referred to as a stick or maybe a candle holder. It's a large, heavy object. John was lying on his stomach, not a threat, in the midst of a massage, face down.
Look, Angel, just you wait. Just you wait. Don't knock it. Don't you dare. Oh my goodness. This has the putrid smell of shabusiness. He's getting a massage. We don't know where that massage is happening or what it's happening to. In the shabusiness, it was pretty obvious that she was pegging him while using a choke chain. That was not explicitly stated, but it was inferred pretty easily from the facts of what's going on. And I'm just wondering if the massage was an internal massage or not. You never know. You never know.
Down, unexpected, and the defendant admits that she returned to the bed, bashed him over the head with that club or stick, and that John went limp at that time. You will learn that the defendant.
John went limp. That's no fun. Yeah, if you bash your guy over the head with a club or a stick or whatever, he's probably going to go limp.
Refused to acknowledge what she did next. You can make your determination as to why someone might do that as this trial goes on. But she refused to tell detectives what she did with John's head or with the weapon, that those items were never recovered. And so you need to put together the pieces as the judge just described with the rain example. You will learn that this is the reality of the situation before John was killed, and that the defendant wanted John out of the picture. This is the future that she saw, that she wanted, and the only way to have that future was with John out of the picture. Thank you for your time and attention this week. We truly do appreciate it.
Is the defense going to give an open?
So all around, not a bad effort from the prosecution. This is one of those cases where it's locked down, pretty obvious. It seems you have some horrific circumstances, which helps the prosecution, even though that's not fair. And your job is to not leave something open for appeal, not leave something open to be challenged by the defense. There were no objections from the defense. The guy shot straight from the shoulder. He wasn't shooting from the hip. He was well prepared. It was detail oriented. And again, the most salacious line that he said in the entire thing was, "Buckle up, it's a wild ride," which is incidentally the same thing she probably said to the victim right before pegging and beheading him. The pegging is added by me. That is not please don't sue me for defamation, Devyn, you angel. I'm only assuming here. I'm only assuming that giving him a massage is a euphemism. But maybe I'm wrong. Probably am. That's okay. But in my head canon, penetration.
What's up, my niggas? Rackets, are you going to cover the lawsuit from Ms. Keith suing his ex Emiru and Asmongold? I have not watched any coverage, but I assume it's dumb. Micropreneur.
I have I've only seen a little bit of it. The only person I really know about in that is Asmongold. I don't know who Mizkif or Emiru are, but I assume it's dumb too. It's usually dumb to sue someone when you are, thank you, love, when you're a social media person. There's a lot, there's a lot of stuff that can come out that you may not want out, but two, the context of streaming and doing videos and being on social media, especially when you're in kind of the more dramatic areas of it, things can get taken out of context so quickly. Angel Australia says, never talk to the cops. Call your lawyer, just not Nick. Solid advice. Very good. Please do not, I'm not here to take your case. I'm not here. I'm here to make you smile and laugh and feel all cuddly and get skinnier.
Yes, we are, Your Honor. And if we could have 5 minutes recess. Thank you.
Okay, so they're going to spend 5 minutes hugging each other and then talking about what their strategy changes are, comparing the notes that each of them took during his opening statement to see if there's anything they need to tweak, add, or subtract. Mind you, most of this stuff they already know. They have discovery, they have the complaint. They have probably been engaged in some level of negotiation, excuse me. And so most of the things that this guy said would not be a surprise to them at this point. So they're going to go just talk and see if there's anything they need to modify or tweak last minute before whoever is going to deliver the opening argument. I hope it's the gray-haired guy, because the other guy, if he starts talking, I'm going to buy a suit. I don't like that.
We're going to take a brief recess so we can get the technology set up. During this recess, you must not discuss or communicate with anyone, including fellow jurors, in any way regarding this case or its merits. either by voice, phone, email, text, internet, or other means of communication or social media. You must not read, watch, or listen to any news or media accounts or commentary.
Okay, boring. Don't talk to anybody. Okay, we got it.
All right. All right, we'll be back in
15 minutes. Oh, let's jump ahead. Okay, this is them coming back, but not actually starting yet. She's sitting there. I like her hair. I'm going to say it. I like her hair. I like the swoop. I like long hair in general. I think it's cool and pretty and touchable. Her hair is got some good texture to it. It's not flat. It's all swooped to one side, which is an interesting style choice, but it might have to do with where the cameras are. Oh my God!
with our attorneys, deputy district, give an opening statement.
We are.
Whenever you're
I'm just saying, I kind of dig it. I kind of dig it.
ready.
Thank you.
Good. The old man is doing the opening argument, which I'm happy about.
Leo Tolstoy, perhaps one of the greatest authors of all time, in his first book, first novel, Anna Karenina, wrote, first sentence, all happy families are the same.
What are you doing? This better get really fucking good. This better be really good. Leo Tolstoy, in his first book, Anna Karenina, said, line, all happy families are the same. What are you doing?
Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Her Honor asked whether we were going to give an opening statement. An opening statement.
Right. Some unhappy families are unhappy to the point where you behead your spouse while giving them a massage. It's, that just those subtle differences.
As Mr. Giordani had laid out, is the time for each side to stand before you and tell you what the facts are. It's our chance to give you a roadmap and explain to you what we feel.
I'm going to eat
the
some,
facts
sorry.
And ultimately the truth are. Oftentimes defense attorneys sit back and wait. Don't want to show anything. Let's see what they've got. This case, we're not doing that.
Okay. I already really hated a line he said. He said, our version, or something like that, of the facts, and ultimately the truth. Hey, bud, like you've now established that the truth is subject to something, which I get that you may want to be like, their version's wrong, our version's right, but you open yourself up to our version being wrong. It's one of those subtle things. I think that's a bad line. I don't think it really belongs in the opening statement for the defense to say, we're going to tell you what our version of the facts are. Whoa, why don't you just tell me what the facts are? And then I'll figure out that which one is, the right one versus which one is your version. Because your version sounds like a weaker position than just what the facts are. Stylistic difference. What we feel the facts are. 99 says. Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
We're going to get right out in front of this case and we're going to tell you what's really going on and what the state and what their investigation is missing. Initially, Mr. Giordani said, well, buckle up. And I'm telling you, buckle up. Oftentimes in the intricacies and the complications of human relations, things get unsavory. Things are immoral. I'm going to be showing you things right now.
I'm sorry. Why does he sound right now like with his speech like a black dude on Instagram trying to explain all the other girls' phone numbers in his phone? Well, you see what it is the intricacies and the and the uniqueness and the unification of the human communication. That's it leads to reprobation. Like, what are you doing? I don't like this at all.
Not in a sense to offend you. To cast blame necessarily on the decedent in this case, but to give you a true picture of what
they're going to blame the victim. They're going to blame the guy who got his head chopped off. This will be great. This is going to go well.
was really going on with this unhappy family. Outward actions and outward statements are clues to motive. And we're going to ask you that through the course of this trial, you keep the idea of motive in mind. Motive authors actions. After the state had learned, the police had learned concerning the death of Jonathan Willett, they began to conduct a series of interviews. And what's telling the course of these interviews is what's discussed.
The camera work here is questionable. Why aren't you showing the guy talking? It's so weird. This guy's like, okay, we're here. I rode a motorcycle here. That's how my hair got that way. And then she's looking sad, but her face is mostly obscured by her hair. This is a bad shot. Show the guy talking. Show the dynamic aspects. Just from an entertainment and interest perspective, this is bad camera work.
What statements are made and how those are clues to motivations. DeVry's interviewed the day of August 7th, 2023. And at the beginning of his interview, he admits that he's been drinking. He claims that upon hearing of his father's death, he'd got his drink on. But what's telling through the course of what he said.
Yeah, when I found out my father had been killed, I got my drink on. Why do you talk like that?
And what he doesn't say. He's asked. And again, at first, and you can't blame the detectives. They're trying to do the best they can with a fairly complex situation. They're trying to get a root, a feeling of the root of the relationships between the parties. I mean, you've got Jonathan Willett, who's dead. You've got Devyn, the son that's living with the defendant now in this case, Devyn Michaels, and they're trying to grasp what's really going on. What's going on behind closed doors. They struggle
Beheading.
in each of the interviews, both with Devyn and with Devyn, to get a feeling of what's going on, like what are the relationships, and they're misled time and time again by all parties. In this interview, the first of which that Devyn has, they're trying to get a handle on this idea of this marriage and the relationship, and they ask it, but you're saying that you guys are married more out of convenience, not like you guys actually love each other. His response, yeah, we don't. It's not like that. It's out of convenience. But you guys sleep in the same room? His response, no.
Damn. What are you doing? Why bother?
He's asked here, they're at the home. His response, no. Are you guys intimate at all? His response, no.
Now I'm wondering what's going on. Devyn is the stepson, if I'm not mistaken. So there's not the victim, right? Like this is. So what is happening? Like, why is this a thing?
Devyn is being asked questions who, by the way, you will learn to be hated. And he's lying about the relationship that he has with his wife.
So he's lying about it. So he does sleep in the same bedroom and he does fuck her from time to time. Apparently, that's what you're saying. Is that where we're going with this? Is that where we're going with this, lawyer?
Some discussion concerning phones, and I'll tell you any more in this modern society. These are the key of most investigations. In fact, the statement said that's why the Devyn was ruled out. The location data on the phone didn't track that night to the Paladera residence. That's easily solved. It's easily explained. It was left home. That's it. There are other cases that have been of some notoriety that happens. People know now.
Yes, Patricia Moore, thank you for stating that. And if anybody is not aware, when we're talking about Devyn being her stepson, which he is, it's also her current husband. She married the dad. And then she quit. She divorced him and married the stepson. Which is kind of fucking weird.
They track you on your phones.
Oh wait, sorry, Shelly B says I don't think she was ever married to the victim, only had kids with him. She later married the victim's son. My apologies for getting that fact wrong. Thank you. That's why I love you guys. You can help me out with the small details. The Mambro dude says tells chat to stop eating, eats on stream. Fucking hypocrite. Yeah, I can eat. You can't. Have you looked at you? Oh my God. I'm glad you put like a big gaping open mouth at the end of your comment there, Mr. Shovels food in like a degenerate.
You're going to learn that Devyn knew this and the importance and the significance of this clue to this hidden secret. This was no marriage of convenience. We have out here the wedding ring that you'll see in photos that both Devyn and Devyn wore. In fact,
yes.
Detective Skinner, again, trying to grasp this, and this is on August 7th, is asking Devyn about the rings. He's telling me the rings, you guys are saying this is convenience, but rings are like of significance. It shows.
How long have they been married? Also, if that's a lab grown emerald, like, is that even an emerald? It's not cut like one. What kind of stone is that? I mean, this might not be that much of a ring, or maybe it is. They got the bunch of little mellow diamonds around the edge. Those are not that expensive though. And then you've got whatever stone this is in the middle. Topaz. It doesn't even look like a topaz. It doesn't have any lines on it. It almost looks rounded, almost like an agate or an opal, or something like that. Not opal itself, but something akin to that kind of stone.
Commitment. She plays it down, as does Devyn. This marriage of convenience is belied by the facts. You have to ask.
You got to keep up appearances, right? Like, it's required that you pick up your wife. By the way, ladies, think of your future husbands when you're all fat and slobby now and being like, oh, he needs to pick me up for our wedding picture. That's right. You don't want his back to hurt. You know he doesn't deadlift. Chad Parsons says, so who does the laundry in that household? Apparently she does, because she had the empty laundry basket to hold the head.
Yourself as these facts unfold. Why is Devyn covering for Devyn? And why is Devyn covering for Devyn?
Janvier says, can't tell the stone, but maybe beryl or tourmaline. Yeah, it doesn't look like that expensive of a stone. That's my main point. Like, he shows it off. Oh, it's like the implications, like this is a big ring, big rock on it. But, lots of big rocks don't cost that much.
This is no sexless union.
Look, they're touching tongues in a goofy photo. They must be porking nightly. Like Kurt's Instapot. What are we talking about? This is no sexless marriage, because on their wedding day they took a photo where their like tongues are out. Again, how long ago did they get married? I don't know the answer to that, but this means nothing about any of this. There's a million people out there who will attest that a picture like this doesn't have anything to do with the reality of their sexual life.
And again, this isn't to offend, this isn't to shock, but this gives the nature of what's really going on and why that statement was so untrue.
I don't know why it's all blurry. Oh, there we go.
I mean, these are pictures taken from their respective phones, and you can see the timestamps. And this will be admitted to you, and you will be able to consider this in reaching the appropriate verdict in this case. This participant, this is a voicemail, 4/27/23 in this sexless, non-intimate marriage.
Do you make love to me tonight? I just want to feel you forever. I just want to go kisses, and touching me, kissing my body, and kissing yours. I just want some passion.
All right. Not as hot as I was hoping. I couldn't make out most of it. Something about touching her body. But fuck it, like you barely understand it. Why don't phones sound better? And why doesn't voicemail sound better? Like, I feel like we've had time to work on this and like we've fixed most everything else, surrounding phones, but they still sound like hot garbage.
These are photos recovered from her phone that were taken from her phone, 5/17/23. And again, they're sexual.
Here, we're going to go back and listen to that with closed captioning on. That's a good suggestion. I don't think it's going to work. Here we go.
True. I mean, these are pictures taken from their respective phones, and you can see the timestamps. And this will be admitted to you, and you will be able to consider this in reaching the appropriate verdict in this case. This participant, this is a voicemail, 4/27/23 in this sexless, non-intimate marriage.
Do you make love to me tonight? I just don't feel really better. I just feel slow. Just as you're touching me, kissing my body, you kissing yours. I just feel some passion tonight, please.
That actually is really not great evidence because the last thing she says is, I just want some passion tonight, which implies that maybe she's lacking the passion on other nights, right? Like that's one way to take that. I just want some passion tonight. Like it's almost like she was, I couldn't make out most of it, but she was thinking about him touching her body or something like that. Can you come to me tonight? Like, this voicemail doesn't sound like a sex-filled marriage. It sounds like one where one partner is asking the other to do the thing that they're maybe not doing. Maybe they're trying to rekindle something. Maybe the other person's withholding. I don't know. I'm not trying to say anything about why. Like, I have no idea. But maybe they're in a cold spell. Maybe maybe one like saw the future at a palm reader, was like, oh, this bitch is going to kill your dad. Who knows?
These are photos recovered from her phone that were taken from her phone, 5/17/23. And again, they're sexual in nature. This isn't to offend. However, what detectives didn't learn is that this relationship wasn't something that was being frustrated by Jonathan moving in. This relationship had gone on for years before.
So the guy she's not married to and has these older kids, like him moving in is going to frustrate the sexual relationship she was having with his son. I mean, maybe, I guess it's weird to fuck with your dad around. Like, that might be awkward or whatever, especially if he's like, if he's been with your wife, like this is this is kind of a fucked up situation. But at the same time, like, I mean, is it like you're already in a weird situation? I feel like you have to have gotten over some of the awkwardness and frustrations that may have existed, but maybe I'm crazy.
See the picture of Devyn 125, it was modified, access 12/27. It goes back 7 years. Driver's license, this is Devyn, and if you look and take notice, I mean, this is some years before, he's 6'4", he's 185 pounds, he's a big guy, like his dad. His dad.
Wait a minute. 6'4", 185 is not a big guy. I'm 6'2", 185, and I fall firmly into the twink category. This guy is skinny as fuck, bro. Like, he's not a big dude. He's tall. But there's no meat on them bones.
6'4", 205 pounds.
6'4", 205 is pretty, like, that's kind of standard. That's kind of like, normal BMI ranges there. 6'4", 185 is little. That's a thin dude.
We had spoken yesterday, Devyn Michaels.
I mean, come on. Like, she was good looking. I mean, back then,
Was in the porn industry. She's not on trial for morality. She's on trial for murder.
I mean, I think murder is something to do with morality. Maybe a little bit.
She had AKAs given her line of work.
She should have had AKs. It would have made the murder way easier. Dina Peterson. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Says, thank you for streaming when I'm awake. Okay, not trying to be a dick, but Kurt going 10 inches deep into his head with a Q-tip during last minutes of last night's stream was, I saw that video. I saw him just sitting there. I was like, what are you doing, buddy? What are you looking for? We'll cover that tonight on the stream with Mersh, probably. But thank you so much, Dina, for sending that super chat. Really appreciate it.
Work. Devyn was into that. He knew that. He appreciated that. He pursued that.
He was into it. No, I love that you do porn. That's great. What are you talking about? That they I'm sure they had a sex-filled marriage. No, actually, I so love that. That's so wonderful. Yeah. Like, look, I'm not the guy who says that some people are out there like, oh, you can never have a relationship with someone like that. I think people can. You got to know what you're getting into, and you do, like, right? Like, he obviously knows about it. But it's going to take a lot to sell me like, oh, no, I really like that. Like, I don't know, bud. I don't know about that one.
And this illicit relationship began before the relationship had ended with his father. It was done behind his back.
Oh, no.
Text between Devyn and Devyn.
They've been together a long time and the dad had no idea. 9 years now. Mesmerized last night. You don't have to change a thing. Like, that night was hands down the most sensational feeling I've ever felt since I lost my virginity, which incidentally was also that night. Dina Peterson, you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go anywhere. It'll be right here on my channel, 9 to 9:30, somewhere between 9 and 9:30. We'll start. I have special guest Mersh on. We're doing a members only show. They'll be cooking with Kurt. We'll start with how he sources ingredients, maybe from his Q-tip days. Whew.
See, notice the photo? It's that same photo I showed you. 19.
Girl, you had me mesmerized last night. You don't have to change a thing. Mesmerized. I always love text messages and these things.
Year-old, he's now 20. Girl, you had me mesmerized last night. You don't have to change a thing. Like, that night was hands down the most sensational feeling I've ever felt since I lost my virginity. These are expressions of a passionate 20-year-old young man who's in love with a porn star.
Motherfucker, that's 9 years ago. That's 9 years ago. What are you talking about? Dina Peterson says TY, which stands for thank you. And you're also super nice and awesome. Thanks, Dina, for saying that. I really appreciate it. Much love to you. Hope to see you tonight. Guys, we are at 110 new members for the show. It's been amazing so far. You guys are fantastic. Reminder that if you want to send super chats or Rumble rants, you could also consider sending a super tip through the pinned comment on each of the chat windows. And that allows you to use some like voices and stuff to send your messages if you want to play with it. that is just an option that's out there.
See the dates, modified 9316. That means it was looked at 7/18/26.
Look, he's a big guy, massive. God, I wish I knew what his tattoo said. Huge dude. He's a monster.
Got Debbie Aries 20 here. And I'm going to show you photos to show the identification of what's going on. You've got a penis shot taken from her phone.
We've got a penis shot taken from her phone. That means they're fucking.
And you see up in the corner, it's Debbie Aries. So is the case, the facts will show and common sense will dictate that this isn't a case about her wanting to use Debbie Aries. And she kills Jonathan. She's been with Jonathan. What happened on August 7th, 2023?
Yeah. He's fat in Sudan. Jeez.
This trial lawyer reminds me the late great Roman Emperor Micropenicus Minimus. Murder has nothing to do morality against micropeans.
That's true. They're not stabbing anybody.
His Devier was getting kicked out. He was no longer going to be a part of this relationship because the dad he hated, was coming in and not only taking his home, taking his wife. Again, 2016, and this shows the length. This isn't everything.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Eric was getting kicked out. He was no longer going to be a part of this relationship because the dad he hated, was coming in and not only taking his home, taking his wife.
He's like, I'm going to plant my flag, son. You and your 185 ass can get out.
Again, 2016, and this shows the length. This isn't everything, but we're trying to just present this to you now so you have an idea. You can appreciate the motivations. Tracy, you put the biggest smile on my face. You haven't seen it already. You are the first thing on my mind in the morning, but I can't kiss you in the morning Saturday. But boy, when my lips touch yours, it feels like time stops. For you, my heart races 1,000 miles and never skips a beat. When I have you in my arms, you may as well start a fire in my.
Like, I hope your heart doesn't skip a beat if you're racing 1,000 miles. Like, you should have good cardiovascular health. That's kind of a weird one. You may as well start a fire in my chest. Oh, I was thinking it was going to be butthole. It's always, I really am into, like, I probably have an unhealthy, like, interest in how people communicate in intimate relationships. I find it wildly interesting, like the different levels of communication, the different levels of creativity, the different imagery that people use and stuff like that, what they find important to focus on. I think it's really fascinating, personally. So far, he's doing a very, very mediocre job, in my opinion.
You feel like a melting stick of butter, like you.
The Quiet Part podcast has rated the stream over on Rumble. Welcome to the viewers from the Quiet Part pod. Really appreciate you guys popping over. Hope you enjoyed this. We're watching the trial of a former porn actress who chopped off the head of her boyfriend, which is awesome, I guess, kind of. And all sorts of other salacious things may have been happening at the time, which the police have described as a massage. But you can go ahead and imagine what that massage might have been for. Maybe it was a prostate massage. We don't know. No one said.
At your best, just wanted to say you truly outdid the rest.
A stick of butter?
7 years before.
That is sexy to the max. When you're texting your girl and you're like a stick of butter. Like, nope. Sorry, man. That ain't selling.
Don't worry, at one point I'll be laying next to you, playing with your hair, scratching your back, and whispering something romantic in your ear. Again, the dates are telling. We saw pictures of Jonathan and Devyn and the kids, but if you look at the date here and the time, this is 19-year-old Devyn. Jonathan's not in the picture. Same time frame, you see.
Jonathan was probably taking the picture.
Screenshot, 8/23/16. They were a couple. And they were a couple behind Dad's back. Same photo, same time frame, modified 5/9/22. We're coming now to the present. There'd been a long-going torrid affair, which resulted in a marriage between a son and his father's former girlfriend.
Is it a torrid affair? Like, I guess maybe. Was she and the dad like still together when she married the son? Like, what's going on there?
This is Devyn receiving a text from Devyn. See, 11/3/21. Hope it's good. I was looking, it was good, but I'm looking forward to eating something else later. Her response, Arby's, his, if that's what you call that coochie. Then yeah, I guess so too.
Okay. He just knocked it out of fucking park. Whoa. What are we eating tonight? Arby's. If that's what you call that coochie, then yeah, I guess so. Oh my God. First of all, you got the glory. The glory of this is that he's like, girl, I am going face down in Taco Town tonight, right? Not only does he do that, he says, he refers to her vagina as an Arby's roast beef sandwich, which if you're not initiated, that is a, that is a derogatory slang for having maybe large labia that some women have. I cannot fucking believe he sent that. Whoa. That's what you call that coochie? Then yeah, I guess so.
Was consistent. Pictures of Devyn's phone. You see modified, which means looked at 5/15/23.
Tactico says, I don't want to go down on a woman who has the meats. There's lots to explore. Holy shit. I cannot believe he sent that. He's like, oh, this will be sexy. Oh.
After time, 5/15/23.
Please more.
The date.
Please more.
5/15/23. I mean, this is clearly an intimate relationship.
Tell me about
It's
it.
not for the kids. It's not for these perceived medical issues. Devyn is in love.
Is the Arby's a medical issue? I don't even know. I don't even know at this point. I don't know what medical issues.
With Devyn. Captures on his phone. You'll hear from Devyn. We may not have a moment that we discussed yesterday where I can't take it. I did it. Look at the motivations and why people say what they do. Devyn's 9/14/2023 grand jury testimony. And if I could just ask you a couple more questions about that. Did you and Devyn get married in the traditional sense? And this is under oath in front of a grand jury where there's
Under oath.
jurors. It's a formal proceeding, just like a trial. His response, yes, but it was more me helping out with the girls when she couldn't find a babysitter. So I figured, well, we both kind of sat and talked about it. When she has to go to work and can't find a babysitter, I could be there. She also had a whole bunch of medical problems, and it's very expensive to keep the girls at daycare when she's sitting in the hospital, so I would normally be there to watch them. Okay, and I'm sorry to ask.
So that's like, yeah, that's definitely, you need to be married to do these things.
Was it an intimate relationship that you were in with Devyn at some point? And now we start seeing they've got the phones. Metro and the Henderson Police Department are doing their investigations. His response changes, but nonetheless, it's still not truthful. Yes, after the first year, it started to get intimate. They were married November 21st, 2021. So if we're to take Debbie.
All right. So we've got 4 years. 4 years of marriage or whatever. But they've been exchanging sexy texts since 2016, apparently. And then, but after the first year, it started to get intimate, he says. I wonder if they were intimate before the marriage, because, you know, that could be one of those, kind of truth statements where it's like not the whole truth, but it's like, so, you know, was it an intimate relationship at some point? After the first year of marriage, it started to get intimate. He's not necessarily saying anything about any time prior to that. It might be one of those things, but very curious.
A year at his work.
It was only 2 years, you know, till this grand jury testimony. I didn't. When did this murder occur? NVV Devyn Michaels. See if we have any. Let's. What? Okay. When was she accused of? Let's see. I mean, she must have killed him sometime before 2023, but I wasn't paying, or before that date on 2023, but I wasn't paying attention when they said when this happened. Why do you keep saying it's Devyn Michaels with an O? Everybody spells it with a Y. Like all the news stories are Devyn with a Y. Unless you're making a joke and I'm too autistic to understand.
Heard they got intimate after the first year. I guess it's to November, December of 2022. The lie and the facts show it. Did it remain intimate up until the time of your father's death? Yes. Movement, but still, there's the clues that give way to the secrets that are being, and the motive for why. In his initial interview, okay, so then you knew he was moving in, and she told you that you were gonna have to move out. This is after he's had a few drinks, probably a lot. His response, recently, yes. It was kind of a short notice, but yeah, and I mean, I know the person he is, and he's referring to his father. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll deal with it. Okay, and that's.
I like how he read that. I know the person he is. Maybe he said, look, I know the person he is. Those are two wildly different statements. But that's the beauty of reading a transcript. You get to read it however you want.
And you were gonna move out? Did he knew that you lived here or didn't know that you lived here? His response, no. He knew I lived here. When you look and when you weigh the evidence, you have to ask two things. Why is he saying these things? Why is he denying knowledge of getting kicked out? And this hot and heavy and sexual relationship that he's having.
Calm down there, champ. Is hot and heavy in sexual relationship, with all the messages being from fucking 2016.
With Devyn. It changes now. 9/12/23. I didn't know that he was going to move in. He's eliminating another motive. I didn't know what they were attempting to get over here. I didn't know that they were attempting to get remarried or not remarried because they were never married, attempting to get married. Again, we do get a glimpse of the truth, but he's denying that he knew that his dad was moving in, and then now he's apparently saying he didn't know they were getting married too. Well, he knew his dad was getting moved in. And he knew that they were getting married. He's out. 9/14/2023 grand jury testimony. Again, this is Devyn. Okay, there come a point in time where you learned that your father was going to move into the address where you were living with Devyn and the two girls. His response? Under oath. I'm unaware of that. Okay, did you become aware of that? After I talked to the detective, yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So that's something you learned after your father's death? His response, yes.
Okay.
Understood. Was there a discussion about you potentially moving out of the residence? His response, no, sir. Prior to your father's death, no, sir. Again, it's eliminating under oath the motive. This is a text that Devyn sent to him 4 days before this incident. See down at the bottom, 8/3/2023. Liar, cheater, it goes on and on. Obviously.
Okay, so their goal is clearly to try to place this on Devyn or whatever his name is. Wait, no. No. This is from this is from the chick. God, these names are so fucking. Okay, this is a check. This is from the chick. She says liar, cheater, liar, cheater, liar, cheater. To who?
And to him 4 days before this incident. See down at the bottom, 8/3/2023. Liar, cheater, it goes on and on.
To the kid. What's the kid's name? Devyn. So it's Devyn and Devyn. How frustrating.
Obviously, there's passion in this non-intimate relationship if you're going to take his word for it. She sends him a text 8/23.
I mean, maybe he went out and fucked some girl, right? Or like a boy. I don't know. He's kind of skinny.
23. I want a divorce.
Okay.
All your shit will be waiting outside for you. 4 days before Dad's moving in.
So.
Do not even think about coming back. He tells the detective he had no idea. He had no idea there had been no discussions of him getting booted out of the house. So he's losing a wife and he's losing a home.
Okay, listen. We have no idea how much these people fought or how they fought or whatever. Some people do stuff like this. You know, like him saying like, yeah, I didn't know I was being kicked out prior to my dad's death. Maybe because he just didn't fucking believe her. Thought she was going through a temper tantrum of some sort, you know, like that he's probably dealt with before.
She states, keep your alcohol. Just stay out of my life. You'll learn.
Okay, so you got drunk and plugged a local boy, is my guess.
Learn from this witness stand that Devyn had a fair amount in common with the father that he hated. He was a heavy drinker. You know, a buddy of mine was a warden in Arkansas, and he said, we eliminate women, we eliminate booze. I got nobody in my prison.
That's a pretty based comment. Get rid of women and booze and nobody goes to prison. What's wrong with you women? Why do you do this to us? Putting us behind bars? Mean bitches.
9/12/23, interview of Devyn. Well, you weren't. You weren't the main suspect. You know what I mean? This is yours. It's a little different than hers. We're here, you didn't do it to clear you. His response, right. Does that make sense? It does. And while the chances of you even being there are so slim that it's just, there's no, that's not even on the radar. These are the detectives that are investigating this case. Perhaps they're ignorant of this, what was really going on, the real dynamic of this fairly seedy, buckle up relationship. Again, he's ruled out and basically not on the radar because he didn't have the phone on him when his dad was killed. He killed his father. He just left his phone at home when he did that. He's been very clear through his interviews that he worked at home trials. He has extensive knowledge of home security systems. And we all know that most home security systems, there's a phone element to it. It caches on your phone. You have a Ring camera, Arlo, any of those.
Well, I mean, it caches on your phone, but it also like backs up to the cloud. Like that's where the main storage happens.
Phone-based. And Devyn has a substantial amount of technical knowledge. He also installed home entertainment systems. Then you've had speakers put in, TVs put up. You got tools. Generally a Sawzall.
Like the tools that goddamn near everybody has. Like any homeowner, like oh, you got like a Sawzall and a drill, and you might even have a screwdriver or two. Oh my god!
An electronic knife, an electronic saw might cut through the drywall and through 2x4s.
You can also cut through the drywall with just a drywall knife. It's not all that difficult to do.
We know how that's at least one of the two instruments that was used to remove his father's head. Again, and I've addressed this, why lie? He's on 8/7, then again on 9/12, then lie to the grand jury on 9/14. Motives, author actions, outward statements betray.
There's a huge problem with this opening statement so far that I'm hoping is obvious to you guys, that all this stuff he's saying is this entire thing is shift the blame to Devyn, who's not on trial, and that's great and wonderful. But you got a big problem, Chief. Your girl was there the night the guy was dead. Told the mom that he was sleeping and all this shit. Like, she's there. She's got his stuff in baggies wrapped up. Like, she's the fucking one who's there. You can try and cast aspersions on this other guy all day, but you got to show why your defendant isn't the one, why they weren't there. What, did he slip in while she wasn't looking and chop his head off with a sawzall that no one fucking heard? Weird.
Secrets. He's repeatedly eliminated his motivation through the course of this investigation. And she's been complicit, whether she knew or not. She's complicit in this. We have Devyn covering for Devyn, and we have Devyn covering for Devyn. Here she is. This, and again, this is just scratching the surface, but these are photographs that are captured on Devyn's phone, just to give you an idea. And there's a long list. We could be here for much longer than we're going to. You know, he's not on any cameras. Well, yeah, that's what he does for a living. He's aware of the security system.
So he does security installs and he takes pictures of the shit he's installing, probably so he can send to either the homeowner or the contractor that he's subbed out to. Yeah, that's not surprising at all, though.
He installs them. He's aware of the angles, what they pick up and what they do. And it goes on and on. But like I said, I won't keep you here.
Ned the janitor. Yeah. There were some blood issues
For the rest of the afternoon, but these are all, and this is just scratching the surface of what's captured on his phone. I mean, this is sophisticated stuff, and you have sophisticated knowledge.
This is sophisticated stuff. These are all these are all run-of-the-mill security things that you can buy like at Target or Home Depot or whatever. Ring or Nest doorbells, and then the Ring or Nest cameras or Arlo cameras or whatever. And you just you literally just screw them into the soffit, and some of them run on batteries. The other ones have like a hardline electrical connection that you may have to do. This isn't that sophisticated. These things are made to be installed by homeowners. I mean, other people do it because they're, people don't have time or don't want to crawl around their attic or whatever. It's better to pay someone off to do it. Sure. But these are meant to be easy to install. Nothing he's shown is that sophisticated. What is he talking about?
Knowledge. He's taking photographs of all this as part of his work. This is his handiwork. And there's a lot of them. I would submit to you the facts will show and common sense will dictate he knows how to stay under the radar.
Oh boy.
At the home.
Oh boy. Over on Rumble, we have a big raid from Viva, my boy Viva, and presumably my man Barnes. Love you guys so much. Thank you guys for rating the stream. To the Viva and Barnes viewers who are here, we are watching a trial that is actually over, but it's already got good stuff. This is Nevada versus Devyn Michaels, former porn actress who beheaded her boyfriend and was married to her boyfriend's son. Yeah, you heard that right. And of course, with all good beheadings, we have a laundry basket involved. So thank you for joining us. I hope you'll stick around for a bit and watch this wild fucking trial with us. You're all welcome. And I love you. And if you were here, I would touch all of your shoulders gingerly.
Where his father was killed. It got too bad between him and his dad. He refers to that house in the Paladera residence with Yoko and her significant other and his dad and Andrea. Jonathan's prior girlfriend was there. He talked about it being a shit show, madhouse. He lived there for more than a couple of years. He knew how to get into that house and get out of that house. I'll thumb through these. And again, this is captured on his phone.
Rumble just lit up. There's
back there.
1,800 people just joined on Rumble. Very, very cool. Like I said, hope you guys hang around for a bit. If this is your cup of tea. If it's not, I understand. I am your cup of tea, though. Trust me. If you don't think so, you just don't know yet.
Drill. This is the home that Devyn and Devier were living at prior to him getting kicked out. It's right here. It's on Porcupine.
So to those just joining, also, I should update you. We are in, and then people are still joining. It's crazy. We are in opening arguments. This is the defendant's lawyer. The defendant is Devyn Michaels. That's a female, Devyn, and she is accused of decapitating her boyfriend, to whom's son she is married. Very, very messy case, literally covered in blood and disgusting filth and degeneracy. So this will be perfect.
The person who lives there knows how to escape detection. Leave the front door, come around, you're on Rebecca Street. There's an even simpler route for a guy that's 6'4", 195 pounds. Right out the back door.
But they're wondering what it looks like we're 30 in 30 minutes.
This is there.
This should probably draw an objection. There is not a gun used in this crime at all. The gun, him doing a video with a gun involved, seems overly prejudicial, not probative in any way. Unless he's got a statement talking about how he'd like to use it to plug his father harder than his father is plugging his wife. Like, I don't see how that would work out to be in evidence, but hey.
The results of the autopsy, homicidal violence, there's no real cause. No one knows for sure. Could have been a shooting.
What? Could have been a shooting. I don't know. Could have been one. Who knows? Could have been one. Are you fucking kidding me? Could have been a shooting. No one reported hearing gunshots. What are we talking about? This lawyer's just making shit up. That should have been objected to like crazy.
These are pictures on, and there's more, but these are just to let you see what.
I don't know. These are pictures with guns. I mean, maybe he shot a whole bunch of people. Probably got to look into this guy.
Was captured on Devyn Michaels' phone. When you look at this,
Ice Stormfire. Yes, the boyfriend is the dad. Well, that's what the defense is alleging. He's the boyfriend or whatever. The dad, and this whom she actually was in a relationship with prior, and then this is gross. And then she got into a relationship with the son, which presumably started around 2016, and they started exchanging illicit text messages. He was 19 at the time. He's 19 years old in 2016, and then in 2021 they end up getting married. That's to the son. So yes, her stepson, even though she'd not married the father. So not officially a stepson. But so she's like inventing the stepbro porn category like in real time. That was amazing. But yeah, so then apparently the dad, now she's married to the son, the dad decides for whatever reason that he's going to move in with them. And at that point, she's giving him a massage and allegedly clocks him with a candlestick or something, and then chops his head off, puts it in a laundry basket and throws it in the garbage. So it's pretty good.
this is telling. Look at the date. 8/7/23. Modified that meant it was looked at the day his dad was killed.
He looked at a picture of a gun the day his dad was killed. Is she single now? I think she's still technically married, but I think she's okay with breaking it. Someone asked how she cut the head off. They don't actually know. They know that multiple knives were used in the removal of this cranium. They do know that, and that one of them was serrated, but they don't know exactly what knife that was. She was also, the head was removed post-mortem. He died prior to the head being removed, according to the forensic examiner. Excuse me.
Or the afternoon, the night following his dad being killed. We looked at that.
That looked like a sacrifice. He's got samurai swords. Yes. Oh, I hope he used one of those to do it. I'm now on the defendant's side. That bitch is innocent. This guy chopped him off.
These are swords that were found in the Porcupine residence. The police went in and searched the residence on 8/7/23. This was the residence that Devyn was looking at with Devyn. Samurai swords on the floor. There has been a lack of investigation. And again, this isn't bad cop, good cop. No, these are good men trying to do the best they can.
Good men. Hard
They make
men.
mistakes. They've been repeatedly lied to concerning the dynamic of a fairly complicated and salacious relationship. 2 instruments at least used to decapitate Jonathan, 1 manual tool and 1 power tool.
Look, that just sounds like a good time to me. Oh my God.
Neither recovered. Coroner examination, tool mark analysis reveals characteristics consistent with the use of 2 tools. A hand-powered knife and mechanically powered saw. Something when someone does homes installations, security systems, entertainment systems would have and know how to use. Listen, the mechanics.
I mean, I have those things and I barely even use it, but I know how. Like, did I do it? Did I do it? Where was I that day?
To decapitate a human being are difficult. I mean, you've got this complex systems. You've got the musculature. You have the veins, the arteries. You've got the trachea. You've got the vertebrae, very thick ligaments.
This guy, he sounds like one of those guys who doesn't understand cars, like me, like talking about an engine. Like, yeah, you got like the veins, you got the ligaments, you got that vertebrae thing, you got the esophagus and stuff. You got to get through it, like all kinds of stuff up in there. You got nerves and shit you got to worry about. You got all kinds of stuff. It's very hard to get to with a knife. It's very hard, very, very difficult. I don't know why he's like from New Jersey, but he is, because that's where murderers come from.
Your Honor, this case is against a banging body porn star who made blowing men's head off her life's work. Now she gives the ultimate head job and gets arrested. A clear case of double standards.
That is the opening statement you should give. Because she was, I mean, look, she was a head turner back in the day.
It takes a lot. Hand-powered saw can do it.
You got to get one of those hand-powered saws.
Interesting, you will see, and it will play out. There's no blood spatter in the room consistent with use of power tool. Apparently, there's an assumption that this decapitation occurred on the bed. I submit to you when you see the evidence, it's not consistent with that.
Wait. So you're saying that the decapitation happened somewhere else. The body was then transported to the bed. The fuck are you talking about? What are you? So this 185-pound twink carries a 205-pound, well, slightly less. We'll say a 198-pound dead body to this bedroom, and no one notices. No one sees this. No one notices this happening, even though it's happening in the home of like these old Asian people. Old Asian people see everything. So that can't be true. Again, this theory of the case that he's putting out just doesn't seem possible. It doesn't mean it's not. It just doesn't feel possible. It doesn't feel right at all. It's like this guy's 6'4", 185, and you're going to tell me he's carrying a 200-pound body around? Dead weight body? No way. There's no blood like all over the fucking house. How'd he get it in there? What did he do?
It's got a power saw going in the neck there, and you're cutting through it. There's going to be stuff all over the place. They didn't find anything. No cuts or markings to linens, the blanket, or the mattress.
Again, like, what? This is your thing? Oh, they didn't cut the linens. I mean, if you're chopping a head off, you're probably cutting the linens. Well, I don't know. And his whole thing about like viscera being everywhere, again, is nonsensical when you really think about it, because if all they used the Sawzall for was to get through the vertebrae after the knife stopped working on the soft tissue, then you've got a problem. Like a knife will cut through everything except the bone of a vertebrae. And again, you could like work the knife through and cut the stuff in there, but like, let's ignore that and just say they started cutting, and this happens with decapitations. You know, they're sawing through all the soft tissue, and then they get there, and the knife's sitting there grinding on stuff, and they don't know what to do. They're kind of worked up. They're in a panic. Their hands are shaking. They grab something else, and in this case, maybe it's a Sawzall or some. Maybe it's just one of those powered knives, like a turkey slicer that goes back and forth, or whatever. Who knows? But they grab something else that's got some mechanical action behind it. And everybody should want that. Damn it. It's got some mechanical action behind it, and they use that to complete the job. If they're doing that just on the bone, the vertebrae that's been exposed after a lot of slicing has been done, then there wouldn't necessarily be a ton of sprayed viscera everywhere, because they would have already dealt with that part of it. But hey, like, I don't know. Who knows?
Devyn is 5'3" and weighs 130 pounds. I'm like 120. And again, and this will be for the state, because it's the state and the state alone that has to prove.
She weighs 120 until she got those implants.
this case. Defense doesn't have to prove anything. There had been surveillance cameras that bad at Palladura since 2021, and they were only taken down that evening.
Again, so this is kind of weird because he mentions her weight. The implication is that she couldn't have, like, she's only 120, 130 pounds. Like, she couldn't have done it. First of all, you're talking about using a knife and a power tool. So absolutely she could do that. But second of all, it seems like the murder was committed with a blunt object by hitting him in the back of the head while giving him a massage, is the state's theory. And, of course, do we have it? Do we have a head? I guess we'll find out.
Jonathan was moving. We'll probably learn through the course of this trial who installed him. Safe to say it was probably Devyn. Ring was never subpoenaed for these videos. We've heard that perhaps it was wrong account information. The Michaels, Devyn Michaels resident, she was a homeowner. The home phone records were never subpoenaed. And see, this is significant because you can see on Devyn's phone that on the night of, and we don't know when this happened, wee hours of the morning, there had been calls from their home.
Oh my.
She was out late. She was with Jonathan. And at least for a time, Devyn.
She's with the guy who she would then murder while in bed with him. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing. I think like that's it.
Was home with the kids. In fact, the same thing had happened the night before. She had been with Jonathan until 1 a.m. the previous day as well. When Devyn.
Okay, but remember, you, the lawyer, said that Devyn, her husband, really enjoyed the fact that she was a porn actress, implying that he was into some level of cuckoldry. That's what you said. You're like, oh no, he wouldn't be mad at her for being a porn star. Like, he loved it. He thought it was hot, super sexy and wonderful, and all that stuff. And now you're telling me that he's jealous that she's out with his dad. I don't know, bro. You're gonna have to sell me on the fact that he likes her with other men. Well, until it's this guy. I got nothing to show me that he wouldn't, like, based on what he's said so far. Now, a normal person would be mad about this, right? But this lawyer has told us specifically that he's into it, that this guy is into it. So now you're saying that he's into it, but not now, which is hard to swallow. Incidentally, I don't think Devyn has found anything hard to swallow.
There was presumably home. It's probably drinking. There's no blood or DNA analysis of the swords of the porcupine ring, but again, too, we don't take issue with it. It's probably just sawzall.
Yeah, because there's no DNA analysis of the swords. Because no one thinks he chopped his head off with a sword, you dummy.
Or another hand-powered saw was used. No gun residue testing of either Devyn or Devyn.
We don't have a bullet wound. You don't have a bullet wound. I guess the assumption is he was shot in the back of the head or in the head or something. And maybe they haven't examined the skull. Maybe that's it. Maybe they lost the head.
No gun residue testing at Palladura. No blood on Devyn's clothes when Yoko sees her at 1 a.m. It was actually.
If you're going to be walking around the house of the parents of the man you just murdered, maybe wear clothes that aren't bloody.
Yoko's habit to come down from downstairs. Jonathan's room, the room he was moving out of, was downstairs. And through the cell phone analysis, you're going to see that it was somewhat of a shit show at that house. It was a very cantankerous relationship between Jonathan and his mother.
It's a shit show. That's amazing.
Don't drink. You're going to get pulled over. The autopsies results will show that fatty liver and the guy's a heavy drinker. He had GHB in his system. He had marijuana in his system. The issue about the car keys and the wallet, Social Security guard being at the house that he's moving into, given not only Devyn's concern, but Yoko's concern. For most people, that may be a big deal, significant. Where this guy getting loaded, driving regularly, yeah, take his keys. Cell phone, part of the bunch. He was moving into that residence, and that's where the police found these things. That isn't evidence of motive, not evidence of murder.
No, it's evidence of proximity. And it's also fucking weird to take a guy's keys and driver's license and put them in a bag. That's strange. And then there's a further problem that she said she didn't know where they were, even though they have her DNA on them and were found at her house. So yeah, they're not evidence of motive. No one asked them to be. They are actually evidence of this murder because she is allegedly the last person to see him alive. And when she saw him alive, some point after seeing him alive, she takes his driver's license and his keys and puts them in a bag and then ties that bag. That's evidence, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
There is no blood on Devyn's clothes when she goes through the CVS drive through the pharmacy. Their kids were home. They were home the prior nights. They were living with Devyn. There had been a custody dispute, but that had been now resolved through the rekindling of their relationship. She lied about the sex that she was having with Devyn, or Devyn lied about the sex she was having with Debbie Irvin. Devyn lied about the sex she was having with Jonathan.
So this is a ballsy move. He's sitting here saying his client lied, his client lied, his client lied, right? And the risk, of course, is that the jury will then believe your client to be a liar, but she doesn't have to take the stand. He's just referring to police interviews in which she said that they did not have an intimate or sexual relationship, and he's calling her a lying, cheating fucking whore. That's what he's calling her. I don't know why he used those terms. That's what he's saying. And he's just saying that they're lying, and he's relying on text messages from 2016, which showed that they had some sexual tension going on between them back then, to say that, oh no, they're definitely fucking in 2023 when this murder is happening, which is crazy.
There's no blood on the clothes investigators recovered from Devyn's house. There's no blood on her. And I'm going to show you the video in just a few minutes that the state had showed. The still. This is the night before he is dead and decapitated. Watch that. This is her. And look at her shoes for a minute, please.
Oh, yes. Let's do a fashion watch. You'll go back.
They were adjusting their clothes.
Go back.
And bear.
They didn't show it. She's in short shorts in that picture, which they should show. We're supposed to look at her shoes. So he's saying that the guy is smiling and she's adjusting her clothes, implying that they fucked right before walking into this convenience store, which I think is, again, a stretch. Because, look, I'm not saying you don't fuck in a convenience store parking lot. That's really brazen, though, because like anybody can come up next to your car or whatever. Because otherwise, if they fucked like earlier and then drove to the convenience store, she wouldn't still be adjusting her clothes. So what's the implication here? The implication is that he plowed her out in the car in the parking lot, and then they went into this convenience store. Crazy. Like, this is fucking insanity. Do we have the security cam footage from the convenience store? Like, would we see the car rattling back and forth? Maybe they did. This is a porn chick. Maybe she's an exhibitionist. This guy likes seeing her with other men. Maybe it was another guy who was rattling her shorts while her husband was rattling his. I don't know. But the theory of the case that the lawyer is presenting is, again, fucking weird. Sometimes you just have to adjust your clothes when you get out of the car, especially if you look fly as hell. Like, that's what you got to do. And that guy's smiling. That doofus looks like he's always smiling. Like, even when he's sad, he probably cries with a smile on his face.
With me, this is about 1 minute and 20 seconds, but we want you to watch the whole thing. There's Jonathan. And she had spent this day with him and the girls. They were going to school.
Oh, so that's the victim, Jonathan, dead guy there. So maybe he's not. So he probably wasn't watching her get pipe cleaned by by someone else, but well, because that's attributed to the son, not him. Who knows? Maybe they're all into it. I don't know.
In Burlington, they were moving in things. The girls were there for good. And again, what motivation does she have to get rid of him? She had the girls all summer and was going to continue. She tried to.
Like, look, divining rod. I don't know what the I don't know what their vehicle status is. Like, I don't know, you mentioning not in a Suburban with tinted windows. Yeah, I mean, you look, an SUV with tinted windows, you can get away with a lot of stuff, but it's still like in a parking lot of like a convenience store, like just pretty brazen. That's all I'm saying. Like, people still like the car, the SUV is still going to rock back and forth and move and stuff. And, you know, like it takes a kind of person to do that, in my opinion. You know, like, how many of you, okay, polling in the chat, both Rumble and YouTube. We're gonna do this poll the old-fashioned way. I'm not gonna use an official poll for it. One's in the chat if you would fuck in a convenience store parking lot, assuming you're in a big SUV with tinted windows. Two's in the chat if that would be too nerve-wracking for you. No shame, either way. We will judge you, but no shame.
Registered at school the next morning, so she wasn't able to. Unbeknownst to her, he was dead. She went back the next day and tried to register.
Y'all are fucking degenerate as hell. You're all dropping ones in the chat. Like, okay. All right. 300-yard wing says, I got a membership. Fucking awesome. Mercada, you whore. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment. I like Yvonne here. 2. Gross. That's honesty right there. I'm definitely a 1, but I didn't figure you guys were as broken as I am.
To his face. They're smiling at each other.
Oh, wait, he's going to play it again. So we got to watch his face here.
Smiling at her.
Bro, what are you doing? Hold on.
He's smiling at her.
That didn't look like a smile to me. It's back just a little bit further.
They were
He's rolling in with a cigarette.
smiling.
Hey, I don't know that he's smiling. He's got a cigarette in his mouth.
Adjusting their clothes. And bear with me, this is about 1 minute and 20 seconds, but we want you to watch the whole
I didn't see it. I didn't see a smile. Here we go. We're gonna get the.
Jonathan.
He's gonna come back in just a second with.
And she had spent this day with him and the girls. They were going school shopping. They were going Burlington. They were moving in things. The girls were there for good.
They were going Burlington. Do you mean like Burlington Coat Factory, or is there like a Burlington near Vegas?
Good. And again, what motivation does she have to get rid of him? She had the girls all summer and was going to continue. She tried to register them at school the next morning, so she went.
The girls are the children she had with the dad. I know. It's all fucking complicated.
Wasn't able to. Unbeknownst to her, he was dead.
He is
She went
dead.
back the next day and tried to register him.
But he was dead.
His face.
All right, there is a smile there. I think that qualifies as a smile. I think that does. So I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to give it to him there. Look at his face. Now notice that's when he walks in alone, not when he's following his girlfriend in. You know, he's smiling. And the guy's like, oh, see, they're smiling at each other. We don't actually know that because we can't see her face, you fucking dope.
They're smiling at each other. He's smiling at her. Thanks, Mike. Did you just rewind that a little bit? Thank you. Here we go. Look at his face. Thank you.
I should have just waited.
Oh, did we skip something? Just
Wait, go back.
before this,
Come
just
on,
before
buddy.
where Devyn's walking out.
Show us the stains on those shorts. Is that going to be? I hope so. Like, just do that. It'll be funny. It'll be funny, lawyer. Go for it.
Yeah, look at the shoes.
Look at the shoes.
And this is before this beheading.
Oh, this is before the beheading. Because the guy's up walking around with a fucking head on. It's like, this is before the beheading. We know he's still got one.
Mistake saying that she did. There goes Jonathan.
And I just want you to know, this is before this guy gets beheaded. It was very important for him to point, like, this is before the beheading. Could you imagine how he would have looked after the beheading? What a disaster.
And there she goes. Look at her shoes.
Look at her shoes. Okay, I see she's wearing sneaks. God. Hold on, I'm gonna bag it up. Bag it up, girl. Look at her shoes. Okay, I'm looking at her shoes. They're just sneakers. We only get like fucking 3 frames of this. Is he trying to say like the shoes are a mess or unkempt? Hold on, let me turn off closed captioning for a second. Is she's wearing sneakers? What? Are they untied? Like, I don't see anything. What am I missing, chat?
Look at her shirt.
She said that before she left the screen.
Those are the shorts. CBS.
Wait, what are you doing? Why'd you? We're trying to do forensic analysis of what's going on. I don't even know whose shorts these are. I assume they're hers, but they're about short enough for me to wear. Okay. These are the shorts. Oh, the shorts. Got it. That is a pair of shorts. I'm not seeing anything on them. Do you guys? Do you see anything? I don't see any like funny staining or anything here that makes me think that they fucked in the car.
Those are the shorts. CBS 227. After she leaves the Paladura house, the house that Jonathan is moving out of to move in with her, for them to be a family and rekindle this relationship, I'm going to have you believe that she's worried about stopping and picking up a prescription for her daughters. And she does that. She goes, tells the police she went to a 24-hour pharmacy. She had to get medication for girls at school.
It doesn't matter if you're murdering someone. You still got to take care of the kids. What the fuck are you talking about? Well, yeah, I would go get the prescription for my daughter, but I have to murder this guy. Also, her doing routine and mundane things, if the murder's premeditated, makes way more sense. Because if the murder's premeditated, her doing mundane activities, just goes to show that she's, she's at this spot where she's gonna, she wants to keep everything looking normal as possible, and lower his guard.
This is her rolling up. You see, it's 228. If you look at the shirt, same shirt. And this is after she's presumably gone through this arduous task of heading Jonathan.
I think he's like, see, it's the same shirt. It's like, we can't see the shirt, bro. Yeah, I agree, Taint Smear. Prosecution isn't objecting because they know they fucking got her. She's toast. Calamity Sue, the difference of them fucking in the car, this is the only reason that it matters, is because the defense lawyers are trying to make a claim that her husband, the victim's son, murdered his father in a jealous rage. That, and so then if they were fucking in the car, you know, like or whatever, the implication would be like, oh, he, you know, they're both happy. She's happy with him. He's happy with her, even though we didn't actually see her face. But she's happy with him. He's happy with her. There's no murder happening there. It's actually the jealous son who's doing the murder because they're in, you know, they're having this lurid sexual relationship. That's their theory. That's why it matters. Cat Mama, welcome to Paralegal.
She has a wherewithal to get a prescription after supposedly beheading man.
There's a divorce coming either way. I think they could work it out. They were married for convenience purposes around the children in an unsexual relationship, according to her. I don't think jail's going to get in the way of that. Fletcher Boy says, Nick, find the video of her crashing out at her plea hearing. Law and Crime has it. She's batshit crazy. Probably not tonight, because I gotta finish getting through this so that I have some time between shows, and I'm taking way too long.
She arrives home shortly after that and was picked up on the cameras. This is the home. The police enter and photograph hours after this murder is alleged to have occurred. See down here on the right? See the shoes? Black shoes, white soles, middle of it. I think we focus up on one, but there's actually two there. These are the shoes that were worn when the man was beheaded hours before. There's another pair of shoes matching those that we saw in that video from Carol Hurst at 10 o'clock the night before. You know, you don't have to like her. You don't have to like the choices that she made. It was Benjamin Franklin that said facts are stubborn things, and the state has the facts that they have.
So he's opened with a quote from Tolstoy, and he's closing with a quote from Franklin. Did this fool watch American History X, like essay writing 101 on how to do this? Like, you should always open with a quote. Shut up, kid from Terminator.
Look at the evidence. Look at the motivations. And find her not guilty. Thank you.
Steve, are you prepared to call your first witness?
Yes, sir. Officer Cooper, Your Honor. Sorry, Officer Cooper.
Yeah, and to people who joined the stream late, this case is already completed. We're watching the trial wrapped up today. I believe the verdict came in. But I wanted to watch this trial. I couldn't manage it last week. I didn't have time. Well, it technically was 10 days ago when it started. I didn't have time lining up in order. So we're gonna watch through this. It may take longer than the 10, I think 8 or 10 days or whatever. I think it was 8 days of trial with like a weekend in there. It may take a little longer than the 8 days to get through it all, just because of whatever. But we're gonna watch through the trial as if we're doing it. I can't do it live because it's already over, but I don't think that's going to matter. I think there's plenty of really interesting stuff that happens. I mean, these two guys have an almost indefensible client. Like she's pretty obviously guilty so far. We'll see what they do with it and where they try and create doubt. And that's really interesting. The prosecutor's opening statement was solid. It was straightforward, non-salacious, and there wasn't anything to object to, so it was good. Okay. Actually, here's where I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. This is about to be the start of testimony. There's 18 minutes on this video, and then I believe they go to recess, and there's another hour of video that happened on day one. And I don't have time to cover it right now. I've got a show starting in about an hour to an hour and a half. And I need a little bit of a breather time between that. And I need to go talk to Lady Rackets and tell her good night and stuff like that. So we're going to wrap up. We're going to leave it right here though. And tomorrow I will be finding time throughout the week to cover this as much as I can. Might be hopefully not during the night shows. I would like to do it during the daytime, but it kind of just depends on my schedule and what I'm able to do. I will make announcements on Locals and Twitter. Also make sure your notifications are on both, Rumble and YouTube and Locals and Twitter, whatever, wherever you get your notifications, wherever you get your information, make sure your notifications are on, that you're following me and all that stuff. And we will be covering this thoroughly. This case has everything great in it. It's sex and scandal and murder and blood and decapitations and two types of head happening. And it's fantastic. So I love it. I'm interested in it immediately. And so far, I think the opening statements were good. I'm going to try and get the audio stuff fixed up so that I can talk without pausing too, so we can move through it a little faster tomorrow and the subsequent days. But until then, guys, I'm gonna buzz out and come join me again in about an hour. I'll be with Mersh, and we're doing Cooking with Kurt. If you're a member, that's on YouTube or Locals. As soon as I figure out how to make Rumble members only streams, I'll reincorporate Rumble into that. For now, it doesn't really work. At that point, I will do that. But it's not intuitive. It's not intuitive, and it's a mess. I don't know if you even can technically, because everybody's members only content seems to be out there on Rumble anyway. So with that, y'all, I really appreciate you hanging out. Thank you to the monsters in the chat gifting 100, and well, not just gifting. We have 111 new subscribing, monthly members on YouTube. Many of those were gifted, and big thanks to the generous donations of those gifting those memberships. So I hope to see you all very soon. I'm going to make the link, and we'll be up in a little bit. Come back. Have a good one, guys. Peace. Oh, and we got to have an outro video. Oh my God. What a disaster. Do we have the truncated outro? Here we go. We'll see you soon. Peace.
So pour out another bag of bow, more of that bright. Spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea, post on Twitter as we hear Lost Blaming tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who's